back to Splice and Splatter, the film podcast presented by us. We're
Us.
classic horror.
Meets modern gore.
We're your hosts. I'm Siena.
And I'm Al.
And happy Valentine's Day. We
Yeah.
have such treats to eat today.
Oh my gosh. Meaty treats.
Meaty treats indeed.
Also, we haven't done it yet, but
Mhm.
me and you have wine as we talked about having last time. I'm going to
Yes,
cheers
we
you
followed
and
through it.
cheers you guys listening as well. So cheers.
Happy Valentine's. We're happy all of our dates.
I am taking a sip of this, so
Mhm.
pause for wine
too.
sippage. We've all earned this.
Truly, and yeah, it feels like the world has brought us to this point, has it not?
Listen, if I could be a bottle of wine deep every day at this point, in bed, sleeping, just binging horror, I absolutely would. Frankenstein, repeat, yes, please.
That sounds about right. And again, very appropriate for what we'll be doing next episode. But you all have to wait
Yeah.
until the end to hear about that.
But this week, it's our Eat Your Hearts Out Valentine's leading up to Valentine's Day week. And these are, I feel like, perfect. I know someone asked if we were going to do Lisa Frankenstein. So sorry, we are doing fresh.
Lisa Frankenstein
but
will happen at some point, though. I'm
has
sure. I still haven't seen it, but like I know I'm gonna love it. Like
yeah, it's amazing.
it's Karen
Truly.
Kusama. Like she's gonna knock it out of the ballpark. I know.
Yeah, it's a really, really fun one. But yeah, I feel like these two are perfect. Cannibalism. What year is Silence of the Lambs again?
It's from 1991, and I had that
Wow.
wrong in my head, and the reason why is because it won the Oscars a full 13 months after its theatrical release in March of 1992. And so when we think about the 1992 Best Picture Oscar-winning Silence of the Lambs, it feels weird to say that it's from 1991. But it is indeed from 1991.
Damn. Holy shit, that's like it's both like older and not as old as I thought in my head.
Yeah, it's it's weird that it's 35 years old and still feels as pardon the pun, as fresh as it is. In some ways, and then in other ways we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear. I feel like people have been asking for Silence of the Lambs, so
yeah,
and
after
then
our moth tid, I think it was needed.
Yeah, which still like honestly blows my mind, and it was I felt validated in the fact that everyone else was mind blown by the moth being and then I have a Salvador Dali book too, and I saw his like gouache or however gouache. How do you say that? Gouache.
It doesn't look like it would be pronounced gouache. But
listen, we all read it and we all know. I don't say it out loud, but it was so weird because I like flipped through because I was like, I swear, like again talking about it, and it was right in there, and I flipped like right to the page. So it's been very cool to it's been cool to share that fact with everyone and not be so alone in that we all kind of didn't realize.
Yeah, and I love that somebody shouted out that it is the photo that I showed is based on the Dali gouache. I didn't mean to not credit Dali. I just was like, so few people even know Philippe Hausman's name. Like, let's give him his moment in the sun. So
absolutely, we highlighted the person who should be in that moment. So yeah,
exactly.
I'm happy we're finally covering this, and I'm curious too of how many people have watched Fresh. I feel like a lot of people have heard of it, but I feel like not a lot of people. I don't find myself finding people who have seen it, just heard about it at the time, and so I'm hoping I find my people.
I'd seen a lot of stills of it, like on Instagram, especially, particularly of like the meet cute at the beginning. MEAT cute, if you will.
Meat cute. Oh yes.
But I had not watched it and knew that it was about cannibals, knew that Sebastian Stan is a cannibal, and felt like I'd kind of had the twist ruined for me already, and I hadn't. I had not at all, which was great.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, as we'll get into. I kind of told you off mic that this is like another film where there's just like not a ton on it. There's some great like interviews, but where it fell with being kind of still in that COVID bubble, there just wasn't a lot of stuff. So I did find some meaty tids again. I feel like we're gonna do that pun over and over again in this one. I did find some, but it is lighter. I don't know though. There's a lot to talk about this.
Yeah,
this film,
as we were both saying, it's like even if there's not that much out there on the film, I feel like there's a lot to be said about it,
So
which
much to
I'm
be said. Listen.
excited for. Yeah.
We'll have
But
to bite our tongues.
maybe bite them off if Hannibal Lecter is
Mhm.
talking to us. But first, I wanted to start us off with a tiny bit of housekeeping because I want to give a shout out to one of our listeners, Alexandra Lobo. She's synthetic_animal on Insta. I have been following her art since she followed the pod way back in our early
Yeah.
days, like almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah, feels one
And
of our first followers, it feels like.
yeah, one of the true believers. um, and I reached out to her because I'd seen a couple of her illustrations and she'd just done her first film poster. And I was like, hey, would you be down for doing a feature poster?
Come this
Um,
way.
and it's so sick. I just sent it to you in a
Oh.
text so you can open it
Can
up
I
if you
look?
wanted
Can
to.
I
Yeah,
react? Oh my god.
do a little show and
I'm
tell.
actually like dying to see this. You have to describe it
It's
to
yeah,
everybody.
I can put it as a
Oh
little
man.
yeah, I can put it as a
That's
little
holy
thing
shit.
here.
Isn't it
I
wild how talented people can be?
I know. And
I
I'm
know that sounds like
like
a crazy thing to say, but like that's so
that
sick.
human beings can do this is just like, wow, what a world we
Ugh,
live in.
that's so the bones.
I sent her like 50 billion Polish film posters from like the 60s through 80s and she was like,
Very cool.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
She's like, I got this. I
Yeah.
got this. Say less. Oh my god, how amazing.
So
How
yeah, shout out to our
cool.
talented listeners. Thank you so much, Alexandra. I love it so
Yes.
much. And if y'all
Yay.
need graphic design work, check her out. She's amazing.
Yeah, she has really, really, really cool stuff. I remember we stalked
Mhm.
her profile.
Right
We have so
away.
many talented artistic
I
followers that it's like
know.
kind of insane. So,
It's
that's
yeah.
so how amazing is that
I
everyone's kind
know.
of been
So
here
full
for that. And then
circle. Yeah.
yeah,
So and
yay.
also just like it makes me so proud of this little horror community that we've built. Like that
It's a nice
we love
bubble.
you guys. You're good
Yeah.
humans and
What's
we need
her
more of those at this
I,
time.
truly. What's her Instagram again so people can
It's
follow?
synthetic_animal.
Yes.
Such a cool name.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, truly. That's so
So
awesome. Thanks for sharing. I feel very
yeah,
like
thanks for the little show
privileged to
and
be able to see that.
tell.
You guys have to wait.
Yeah, like a couple days, but this is
Yeah, it might be
basically the
out by now,
final.
but
Yeah. um,
that's so
so
fun.
with that, given that it has bones, no bones about it, should we jump in?
Yeah, that's jump. Do you have a tidbit or anything to start
I
us
do have a tidbit
off?
actually.
Do you want to do it
I
now? Do you want to
I think it's
hold
a good
it?
lead in actually.
Sweet.
Yeah. Let's so I took inspiration from the Eat Your Hearts Out theme and brought in a
Mm.
couple of tasty little tids to start us off. Food-based tids from
Ooh,
Silence of the Lambs.
ooh.
I have two. So the first is the grosser of the two. So don't eat during this one.
Okay, I
Um
love that.
for the corpses, which as we'll talk about more when we get into the Silence of the Lambs portion, all portrayed by real actresses. None of those
Oh
were
wow.
yeah, those weren't props, those were people. For the fat in the areas where Buffalo Bill has skinned them, they
Mm-hmm.
used rolled up pastini, like long pasta with
Don't say
KY
that.
jelly and
Blah.
yellow food coloring.
Oh no.
Mhm. So that one's gross, but here's a
Oh
slightly less
God.
gross one.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
less gross, but also about corpses. I'm so sorry. This is where we are in this episode.
I listen, I love
Um,
this.
yes. So you know the when the cocoon is pulled out of the throat of one of the victims.
Yes. Yeah.
That cocoon, because again, real actors, um, they had to make it out of something that if she accidentally swallowed it, it would be safe.
Oh, that's
So
good.
that cocoon is made out of a combination of mashed up Tootsie Rolls and gummy bears. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a combo.
A tasty little
Tasty.
treat.
Together,
Yeah.
maybe not, but yeah.
But
Wow,
like,
that's genius.
isn't that fun? And
Tootsie
then there
Rolls
was
and gummy bears.
and they take it out and start slicing it open to get that like kind of spilling out effect, it was
Mhm.
saffron and more KY jelly and like I think a couple other spices, like food spices that were on the inside of
Oh,
it, like packed into a tube so that it wouldn't come out
yeah. I
accidentally.
think the only thing horrifying me about these facts is the KY jelly,
Yeah,
just
I
because that
wouldn't want to.
texture's really, I don't know. That's a tough thing to mix. Like, thinking about that mix with
It's
food makes me sick. On its own, sure, maybe fine. The food, fine. It mixed
yeah,
with
both of them
food.
separate, fine. It's the combination that becomes really
Oh,
devastating.
man.
But yeah, some tasty
It's
tits to start
really
us off.
oh my god, I love that. That's deliciously awful. Thank you for that.
You're so
I won't look
welcome.
at pastini the same.
Do you have a tid for fresh?
I have, like, a lead-in tid a little
Ooh.
bit. It's I kinda, like, I don't know where to plug it. If
Mhm.
we're just kind of, like, diving in,
Yeah.
so Fresh 2022,
Mhm.
I am sure it's, like, one of my favorite things. So, as you might have noticed, we don't get the intro, the title card and the credits until way late in the film. A whopping 33 minutes into the film is when we get that, which is so fun, and this is, like, my 3rd time watching it, and I always forget about that we get a rom-com
Mhm.
appetizer
We sure
before
do.
we dive into hell.
Yeah.
So
It's and like I've seen a couple other movies do that.
mhm.
I mm, I don't think I've ever enjoyed it as much as I did here. It really
Yay.
slapped. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it just kind of just it's I feel like it sets up the sick humor that's
Mhm.
interwoven in this film that does, to me, cover a very serious, real matter that we
Yeah,
deal with.
indeed.
And so it's just like, as we'll talk about Mimi Cave, she's the director of this. I love her brain. I love like the whole team seemed amazing, but I think that 33-minute in, it really sets the tone for this twisted humor that we
It
get within this.
yes, well said.
Yeah, so, it starts off as that rom-com, and
Mhm.
then we do get some foreshadowing within that. So, you might have caught when Steve, which is Sebastian Stan, and Noah
Mhm.
first meet, when they're in the grocery store, we see, like, fresh meats in the background is kinda displayed above
Mhm.
the head. Another time we get foreshadowing within this rom-com 30-minute cursor to this film kind of taking a turn. He has the line where she asks if he wants something to drink or eat, and he says, "No, just you,"
Yep.
which could be
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god," but knowing what we know
Of
about this film,
course, yeah.
it's not. So we do get some fun foreshadowing that happens. I'm sure there are a bunch more Easter eggs, but I thought that was really fun.
I loved that one. There's also just so many shots of extreme close-ups of people's mouths chewing in that first half hour,
Oh,
which is, yeah,
yes.
really disgusting and really kind of gives you this horror undertone as it's leading you in.
Yes.
Um,
So, pinning that, I don't for, like, the first time ever, I don't have the cinematographer up,
mhm.
higher in kind of, like, my thing, but keep a pin in
Interesting.
that because you will all recognize the cinematographer for this, and, I think his shot choices make a lot of sense knowing so if you know
Oh,
Siena,
I'm
you're
so
not allowed to tell
excited.
everyone.
I
If
do
anyone's
not
with someone in the
know.
car, you're not allowed to say yet.
I
Hold it if there's
don't,
someone else
yeah,
with you.
zero idea.
Okay. Yay. So pinning that, we'll get back to him. He does a bunch of things that we're all fans of. Maybe not you so
Amazing.
much, but we're fans of. So taglines, we have just two. They're very on the nose. Again,
Mhm.
there's women are in charge of this production, so it makes sense why everything feels good. So
Mhm.
we have it's not for everyone. Amazing in so many
It's an acquired
senses.
taste, yeah.
Oh my god, it's an acquired taste would have been
I feel like
the
that's
one.
yeah. Yeah. Somebody hire me.
God damn it. Honestly, at this point, we need one of us needs to help with taglines. The
Truly.
second one we have, and I don't know why the last word's all caps and an exclamation point, but we
Amazing.
have love you to pieces. So bad.
Your delivery of that was incredible too, and I'm pretty sure I have a very similar, like, ends on a whole bunch of exclamation
Oh
marks
God.
tagline for mine,
I
so
hate when they do that. I
they're
hate
so
it.
bad. They're
I hate
so
it.
bad. I want a tagline with almost no punctuation, if possible.
That's the way I write,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So that's my thing. So diving in, we have director
Yes.
Mimi Cave that I've already mentioned. It is her directorial debut, which I think is insane.
That's very
Since
impressive.
right, so since this, she's done 2025's Holland, which has Nicole Kidman, Gail Garcia Bernal, Matthew McFadden, as well. And then she did do I know, ugh, and then she did do an episode of Poker Face. So
Oh,
she's
cool.
done
Awesome.
those two things, but not a lot, and it really bums me out.
Yeah, one would think that with a first feature like this, perhaps if she were a cis dude, things might have gone a little bit differently. That's all I'm
Listen,
gonna say.
this is our man hater episode.
Yes. I mean, one of many, one of
If
most,
yeah,
honestly.
this was like very like this
Pretty
time we mean
particular.
it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, this is if you're gonna yeah, if you've heard us before, you're really gonna hear us now. So yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely think, but I've not seen Holland yet. It looks amazing, and I really want to watch it, especially knowing that it was her now.
I know I've gotten trailers for it on like pushed
Hmm.
to me on socials, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I saw it on like TikTok. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's Mimi Cave. We'll kind of get back to her. She's interwoven. We also have writer Lauren Kahn. It was her first
Oh my
screenwriting feature
god.
debut, which I
Amazing.
love. But she had directed a bunch of shorts since 2010, so she'd very much been writing things, working on things. But it wasn't her first time on a big Hollywood set. She was the assistant to Adam McKay on Step Brothers, The Other Guys, Eastbound and Down, as well as being crew on Step Brothers.
So this is making some things about how the film got made make sense, right?
Absolutely. So we're gonna dive into it. So
Amazing.
if you don't recognize Adam McKay, or he kind of like puts off um little bells in your head, it's because he is
Mm-hmm.
a screenwriter, producer, director. He started as a head writer on SNL in 1995 and did that until
Mm.
2001. And so after SNL, he collaborated with Will Ferrell, and they did Anchorman together, Talladega Nights together. They did The Other Guys together as well. And they did a bunch of projects, including co-producing their website Funny or Die. Hello, where like everything we know
Yep.
at like in
Mm-hmm.
that block of time comes
Mm-hmm.
from. And then they started their company, Gary Sanchez Productions, where they co-produced Eastbound and Down together. So that's kind of their kind of story. That's Adam McKay.
Cool.
So to your point, that makes so much sense of why his
Mm-hmm.
assistant would get this opportunity after kind of having nothing under her belt before.
Especially because I'm pretty sure he's listed as an executive producer on this, right?
He is. So yeah, he's a
Okay,
producer
cool.
on this. I'm trying to
Sorry,
think.
I don't mean to make you jump around.
No. Yeah, he's so that's where that name comes from. I think
Got
we
it.
see it in those opening credits. We might just see it at the end. But if you noted that and you know that name, that's kind of the backstory. That is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely why she kind of got her break on this.
Cool.
And I love that he pushed that through and
Yeah.
forward.
As he should.
As he should. I mean, they really work together on a lot of things. So, kind of jumping into starring, and again, we'll talk about the script and kind of how that came to be. But starring, we
Mm-hmm.
have Daisy Edgar Jones as Noah. I love her.
Yeah.
She is known for her. I think she should have all the roles that Dakota Johnson has, in my opinion. That's gonna
Oh,
be
I
my hot take.
love
Because
this.
she can actually act. Oop.
But
So
you're so right about like them playing the same type too. Like,
they're like
mm-hmm.
beautiful brunette, like even though
Mm-hmm.
she's not American, they're like all American.
She's
Uh
great at doing an American accent though. I only heard like a couple tiny slips in a couple of places.
she does have
Disagree?
slips. So she's known from the miniseries Normal People. I guess that's where
Mm-hmm.
like people know her from. She's also in the TV series War of the Worlds, which I have not
Oh,
seen, but she's
have
in the
not seen.
Twister
Yeah.
remake, Twisters, which I hate to say I love that movie. Her accent's all over the place.
Oh no. See, I was
But bless
content with
her.
it for the most part on this one.
Yeah. She's so much better in this one.
Okay.
This was the first thing I saw her in before I saw her in Twisters.
Oh.
And then she's slated to be in the 2026 Sense and Sensibility. So
Okay. Hopefully
I'm
she's allowed to use her real accent for that then.
I'm hoping. I feel
Yeah.
like I've never heard her because I haven't watched like many interviews with her either. So I kind of only know her for
Oh.
her fake American accent at
I'd
this
I'd
point.
watched Normal People first, and that's probably part of why I was pretty impressed by her accent work is because like I was
Nice.
much more familiar with how she actually sounds.
Okay. See,
Um,
that's probably where most people come from is seems like that show with her. So
Makes
I am
sense.
on the opposite side of that. So yeah, I love her in this. I hope she's in so many more things. I just find her
Agreed.
really compelling, and you just like her. I
Yeah,
like
and
her
I
immediately.
I felt like she went all the way with this performance too. Like it would have been
Yeah.
easy to hold back and try to um not look like she's being slowly eaten while she's being
Right.
slowly eaten, you know?
No butt
And
cheeks.
yeah, we'll get there. I have thoughts about that.
We will get there. You will have plenty of opportunity within this
Fantastic.
to talk about your feelings. I like almost put prompts at like the end of everything I wrote to be like, how do you feel? Or like, what's your feeling? So I have a couple of places I do that, but
Amazing.
please
I have
interject
many
when we get
feelings
there.
to add along the way.
I
Great.
have a meat section, so I feel like that's the perfect place for us to put that.
Absolutely. We'll get there in the meat section.
Yes.
Like a grocery store.
Like a grocery store. Before we get to the meat section, we have man meat. I don't know. Sebastian Stan as Steve.
Stan meat.
Stan meat. I love this man. So everyone knows him as Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. That was my introduction to him. He also was robbed of his role as Donald Trump in The Apprentice, which I haven't seen, but I've seen clips, and he was phenomenal, and he put his citizenship on the line to fucking play that role. He was also in I, Tonya, Logan Lucky, which is a highly underrated film that everyone should watch, but we get Seb Stan, and I love this awkward man.
This is the first thing I've seen him in.
Wild first thing to see him in, and also
Yes.
a great first thing to see him in.
I'm completely on board now. I'm like, yes, this man is a genius.
He's an if anyone, I don't want to get too much on my soapbox of how much I love him. I have watched a bunch of interviews, and he struggles from OCD, like pretty
Same.
openly. Yeah, it's a really big struggle for him, and so I feel like this character is like this side of him that he gets, because this character very much has. This character has to have OCD with the way.
As
Yeah,
somebody with a
he's neurotic.
diagnosis, I was thinking that as I was watching it. I was like, oh yeah, OCD king. Like,
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad I came across without kind of knowing anything about him. So I'm like, this is such a perfect role actually as an introduction to Sebastian Stan, because he really struggles with that. And I feel like he's such a weird actor and such like, I don't know. I feel like he's a very interesting actor in Hollywood. And again, I feel like he should be in more things, because I do think his range is insane when you look at his catalog. And this film kind of showcases all those sides. Like,
it really does. He gets to do so much.
So many things. So yeah, that makes me so delighted that this is the first thing.
I'm embarrassed to admit it, but yeah.
No. He's in
me over.
He's in random things. So when it came to finding out about this role, he read so he wasn't presented with a script at first, but he read that Daisy Edgar Jones had been cast in the film via a Deadline article. And so he actually from that campaigned to be in the film because he loved her so much.
That's
and so I do
so cute.
Isn't I just feel like that's like, I'm hoping for like a Hollywood man. He's one of the good ones. Who knows anymore? We can only hope.
What even is that anymore?
What does that mean? So I do have a quote from him talking about this. So he says, quote, seeing Edgar Jones' name on the project. Is this from, he said this. Seeing Edgar Jones' name on the project made me really want to sink my teeth into the role. When she signed on, I thought, you know what? This is going to be a really different movie now because she's so great in Normal People, which I love when actors are fans of each other.
That's so cute.
It's so cute. So he says, she brings a level of depth, wisdom, and world knowledge. When she's on screen, you're captivated. Her playing that part would make this movie interesting because having her as a protagonist will be intelligent, smart, aware woman. Therefore, this awful guy is going to have to be on her level. It's elevated character for me. So I love that he was like, her being in this is going to challenge me to be a better actor, to have her as a scene partner. So
that's so sweet.
Love him. And that's how he got involved, is he read about it and he was like, get me on this bitch. Amazing. But Mimi Cave was like, girl, I already wanted you to be on this film. You were on my radar. What does that mean in Hollywood? Did she actually, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. What are the chances? So very Hollywood, and that's what they say in interviews. But
it's a nice story.
It's a nice story. So they ended up, he campaigned, he ended up meeting with her. They hit it off immediately. And they both seemed to have like very similar ideas about the film. So again, she was like, this is perfect. But of course we have that dance sequence, which is what a lot of people know about this film. So she was like, hey, you pretty much already have it, but like just in case, just send me like a little dancing video. So I actually, as I'm talking, I'm gonna have you watch the video that I
Oh
sent
my
you.
god, I'm so
If you're
excited that
listening,
that's what this is.
yeah, if you're listening, we are going to start putting like links to what we're referring to for like photos and stuff like that for you. We got a comment about that. We hear you, and we are going to change for that so you guys can watch this together. It's on YouTube. Just search him dancing. He's
Oh my
very
gosh.
awkward. It's a little
I'm
video of him
so
dancing around the
excited for
kitchen.
this.
So Mimi was like, send me that just in case. And so she said to that, he sent his video dancing in the kitchen with a
Oh my
steak knife. And I was like, okay,
god.
we made the right choice.
He's like, the way he's moving, I can only describe it as like very, what is happening?
He's an awkward little man.
It's very bird-like, but I don't mean that in a good way. Like, it's not that it's delicate, it's that it's like kind of like a dinosaur. Like,
yeah, a little like
oh my god, we just got the knife.
You pulled out the knife. I'm
Oh
so
my
glad I
god,
brought a video for you.
not the stabby dance. This is amazing.
Yeah, listen, if you're dancing with a knife, I feel like we all know what the little stabby dance is.
Oh, absolutely.
We've all done it.
Who hasn't done
Have
the
we?
stabby dance?
Right?
Yes. At least all of us here in this virtual room have.
Absolutely.
Oh my god, I can even like see little pieces of what becomes the scene in the movie from this too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Our little awkward man. So that is that's what he sent to her.
Oh my
She was like, this man is definitely it. I also said his dance, so we have a few iconic dance moments in this, right?
I'm so sorry. I'm in the last
Are you
5
still?
seconds and he just did this like weird phallic thing with the knife at the end right before the video ends.
He's like, I got this character. I can be adorable and also disgustingly man.
Yep, that was the perfect,
Thank you for highlighting
perfect
that.
dance audition. Yeah. Okay, I'm fully back now. Apologies.
Oh my god, I love
had
that.
to see out those last couple seconds.
No, I'm glad you actually watched the whole thing. It gives people like me who are usually lazy when people are like, go watch it somewhere. And I'm like, I'm never going to watch this. Please just describe it on the podcast. So thank you actually for
absolutely
for doing
I hope
that.
that was a decent narration of what's going on.
I think so. It's just, yeah, he's just dancing around in his kitchen with a little knife and being the character. So we get those 3 like iconic, well, I would say 2 of them are iconic. We get the one in the beginning when they're dancing in her apartment. We get his dance, which I says is very Saltburn to me.
Oh, that's so interesting because I said it's very American Psycho.
Oh my god, yeah, that too, huh? I just watched Saltburn again, so it's fresh in my mind. Fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
Fresh. And then we get the little thumb dance, which
the thumb dance is great.
Oh god, it's my favorite. So we will get to the dances, put a pin in that,
amazing.
But I just love that as like a casting story. Again, I think it like I just love this man.
This is also such a great tie-in for when we get to my half because there's also
you got a dancey too.
I don't actually have as many facts about I have one fact about the dance, but it's a very actor heavy episode and there is also an actor campaigning for the role story.
Oh my god, stop. So that's cute.
Yeah.
Look at us. Look at us go.
Pinhead on the way.
Put a pin. Yeah. Moving on, we have JoJo Gibbs as Molly. She's the best friend. She was, you may recognize her. I know I love her. She's from 2 films that I've been meaning to watch since they freaking came out and I haven't. And now that I know it's her, like now I consciously know that it's her. I'm like, I have to. She was in Past Lives and Dog Man.
Oh my god, she was in Past Lives.
Have you seen? I want to see Past Lives so bad, but I know I'm gonna cry, so I can't.
You are gonna cry. You're absolutely gonna cry.
I'm probably gonna cry over both of these films. So she's in both of those. I would say if you like her performance in this, I'm sure she is absolutely stunning and amazing in those 2 roles that she does in those films.
I think she's so much of why this movie works as well as it does. Like that's a lot of it is riding on her shoulders.
Oh my god, truly. Not to jump ahead, but there is a someone's letterbox reviews was like, this is a white girl's Get Out.
I saw that.
And I'm like, it is. And it feels that way. So if you like the buddy, really the old, bless her. Goddamn white people, you know? I'm saying that as a white. Not with a capital W though. Just damn it. She's incredible in this film. She I want to watch those other 2. A couple things about I don't know if it's a fun fact. It's not a fun fact at all. Well, shooting, it's not fun at all. What am I doing? She broke the top of her heel bone, which I don't even know what that fucking means,
Oh
in a
my
scene with
god.
Sebastian Stan. And it was after she jumped and landed on the floor, like, because she was
Oh
chained. She, like,
fuck.
I think pulled herself back down, or the chain was real and kind of yanked
Oh,
her.
good god.
Freak accidents with bone breaks. I swear I've never
Oh, that's
broken a
so
bone in
horrifying.
a like, intelligent way, I don't know. But she, so they actually had kept that in the film, but then they kind of got some feedback, and so they did later remove it, so you do not
Whoa.
see that happen in this. I'm very glad they took it out. Don't know why they would have kept it in the first place.
That's so it's also so interesting because normally with stunts, like the stunt code is like if a stunt person injures themselves on a take, you use that take to honor their work. And at the same time, like
Mhm, yeah,
she wasn't there doing a stunt. That was like an accident because somebody did something unsafe. So like,
yeah,
yeah, I don't think you
yeah,
should include that.
yeah, so I don't even wanna know what that recovery was, but,
Ugh.
we
Hate.
have
Unfun
yeah, hate, hate,
fact.
hate. Unfun fact, thank you. I gotta start I don't know why I always say fun fact, I'm like, "It's not fun." We have Charlotte Le Bon as Anne. I wanna punch Anne in the face. She was recently in the last season of White Lotus.
Hmm.
She was also in The 100-Foot Journey and Falcon Lake. She is,
Oh.
amazing in White Lotus. She's not in it, like, a ton, but she's great, but her performance in this, subtle and not a lot. But you just I wanna murder her face.
Yeah, and you learn so much about her in such a short amount of screen time with
Very short,
so few
but
lines.
yeah, she's so, like, I don't know, that ending, she's just so pivotal, and we'll
The
talk about Anne. We're getting back
Yeah,
to that
definitely.
bitch later.
Yeah.
Coming back around for her. We have Andrea Bang as Penny, who, again, to hear this voice through she almost sounds like an animated character, and, like, she
Yeah.
could I don't know, she doesn't feel real. I
I really loved her performance and also it was very like I feel like because of the horrors that are going on around to then
Mhm,
see this actress with such a sweet face and like such a like warm smile was just
mhm.
like even though you hear Penny smiling through the walls, I
Yeah.
was like it completely was like jarring in this very interesting way. Really great
Mhm.
casting.
Yeah, she's especially at the end too when we finally get to see like,
Yeah.
truly see her.
Yeah.
The comedy between the 3 of them in this very intense, survival moment,
Is
again, it's so great, and she kills it. So,
mhm.
if you recognize the name or she looks familiar in some way, she's from the TV series Kim's Convenience, which I've also been meaning to
Oh,
watch. It's a couple
same.
seasons. I remember again when it came I'd never get around to anything. I watch the films for
Relate.
the podcast, and then I,
Yeah.
like, struggle f with the rest of watching things. Um, and she's in the show A Million Little Things, so that's where you can watch more of her. She,
Cool.
does some cool stuff. We have Dio Okeniyi is how you say his name, Okeniyi as Paul. I love him. I thought he was in more things than this.
Oh my
He
gosh.
is Thresh in The Hunger Games. I thought I recognized him
Okay.
from other stuff. He's so hot.
Yeah.
And then he's Leighton Vance on the TV series Dark Matter.
Oh, interesting. Another that I've
Yeah.
been meaning to see and haven't.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm like, this whole cast is like, I've been meaning to watch the
Yeah, great
thing
list of
and not
things that I'm
realizing.
never gonna get
Yeah.
away around to.
And then last we have Brett Deer as Chad. He's in Jane the Virgin and Schooled. He is the awful man in the beginning, and that's
Yeah.
all we'll say about him because he's
That's all he deserves. Yeah.
so perfectly awful in the beginning. I
Hmm.
don't like him. Uh, so moving on from cast, moving into script, like we said, this is an original script from Lauren Kahn through Adam McKay. She'd been writing since 2010,
Hmm.
done a bunch of projects, and it is kind of like always the story when we hear like how did you end up writing a horror feature. She
Hmm.
did say like her and her best friend would go rent movies and rent horror movies specifically and watch them together on the weekends when she was younger, but she said like there got to a point when she got older that she just couldn't do it anymore and
Mm.
would get so scared of watching horror films that she couldn't sleep.
Oh my
And so she
gosh.
said, I know, which I'm like, oh my god, may that day never come for me,
Oh, that's
I would be
what a
very
tragedy.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she goes on to write this. So she said, quote, "It just went away in my life, but I always had this fascination where I needed to see the trailer and know exactly what happens. The fear is still there, but I love it so much." So I'm glad the love stays there for her. She says,
Oh.
so there was something really enticing about writing one because of this. I talked with someone, I was amongst a group of friends. She had written a horror movie. And so she asked her friends, like, how do you even start with writing a horror feature? And her friend just replied by saying, "I wrote the scariest thing to me." And so she was
Mm.
like, it was just that simple for her. So
Mhm.
she took that advice and said she really wanted to explore something that was grounded from a female perspective in the dating world, which is truly the
Mhm.
scariest fucking landscape
Mhm.
um, that you can live in right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also had this levity to it. So once you're believing the characters and you're with them, I didn't want to live in this darkness the whole time. I feel when you have something that could end up very heavy-handed if you do that. So that's where we
Mhm.
get that tone and that balance from,
Interesting.
is taking something that truly horrified her and kind of finding that balance. And I think, it can be done correctly and it cannot be done
Mhm.
correctly. I do think this
Yeah.
has a really good balance for me. I
I
don't know
do
how you
too.
feel.
Yeah. No, I was going in expecting to not feel that way. Particularly
Mm.
because like I feel like I'd had it described to me by a lot of friends who'd seen it as kind of like yeah, like a white woman's Get Out, as like, which like I do think it
Mhm.
is, but like
I
kind
mean,
of as like a knockoff social justice movie, like social justice
mm,
horror that like doesn't really have anything fresh to say.
yeah,
Oops.
I know.
But I ended up feeling like it surprised me in ways that I wasn't expecting it was going to.
Oh,
Um
good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it
Yeah,
yeah, it exceeded my expectations.
good, 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 good. Yeah, there's as we kind of talk about when we get to kind of like a character breakdown of like what their roles were,
Mm-hmm.
there are like there would be different approaches that I would take,
Yeah.
I think, absolutely.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's
We'll get
issues,
there,
but
I'm sure.
when isn't there? But it is the
Exactly.
someone writing like a white woman's Get Out. I'm like, yeah, we could have changed, but like at the same time, they're casting. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah,
that all lies within the casting at that point.
agreed.
So Pin, we'll get to it. I still
Or
think the way they were able to balance the tone worked for me, and that's why I do like revisiting it because it does feel
mhm. The
entertaining,
the
even
ratio of
with
comedy to horror is really good, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's all to to Lauren and Mimi working together. So obviously this was for those of you who are listening and it's spoiled and everything for you and have not seen it, it is a metaphor of cannibalism as the
Mhm.
objectification of consumption, as we know that there's this wonderful play of treating women as literal and metaphorical meat.
Meat, yeah.
So when she originally wrote it, there apparently was a lot more gore and a lot more what the fuck
Mm.
moments that she wanted to have in there, especially in the surgical
Interesting.
scenes. But she did take those out, and we really get no true, like, all the meat's very cleaned because it's
Mhm.
packaged, it's given out,
Mhm.
or it's cooked. So I do love a film like this that feels very stylistically beautiful, especially when we get to the cinematography.
Yeah.
Um, and it doesn't like I don't want as someone who loves gore, I am the gore to your horror.
Yes,
I'm very
absolutely.
happy with the lack of gore in this. I don't think it would have had its place, and I think I would have been icked out and distracted by gore.
Yeah, I think it would have felt like the intentions were different if there had been more. And so I think they made a good choice in taking it out. Um, and
A
at the
man
same
would have
time, I
done it.
found it very gross. Like, despite the fact that you don't actually see that much on screen, like
Because you can just what's happening.
it feels very visceral still. Yeah.
Yeah, again, this is if you want to talk about the ass cheeks now, you can. Or shall we
Is
wait on
this
the
the
ass
meat
cheeks?
section? I'm waiting
No,
until
it's
we get to
not.
the meat
Okay.
section.
It's not the meat section. So,
Tell me when we're at the meat.
I will. So, I do have a quote from Lauren. She talks about this balance. And so she said, "I knew I didn't want to end up there when we were actually filming it. that it's not something that I wanted to watch. So she was like, I wouldn't want to consume this as a horror lover or past horror lover. So I'm not going to give that to people. She said the people that are horror fans and people that aren't could somehow find common place to enjoy this movie, and that was the ultimate goal, which is again very business minded. She is an assistant to somebody who's done a lot of big things, so she knows what she's talking about. She said Mimi Cave has a really good angle that was left to the imagination and can often be scarier, as we see in films we've covered. What's implied, what's invited to our own brain could go a different place than someone else, and that's going to the place that might end up being worse than what they were going to portray. So she said, for me, we know the subject matter, and if we feel fear, you don't need to see a lot of that fear on screen.
Put a pin in that for the second half of this episode.
Ooh, yes. So how did Mimi Cave become involved in this? We know Lauren's story and how this came to be. So she was attached to Direct Fresh after the original script was developed through Hyper Object Industries, which was a production company of Adam McKay.
That makes sense.
So it was brought to Mimi as part of her, like, I don't really know how this works on like their specific end, but it was brought to her as a part of her directorial debut, and she was immediately connected to the material, really liked it, and so they signed her on in 2020, and was officially announced in 2020 that she was going to direct this. So I'm not sure how. It was I tried, there's just no information of what that looks like for people, but
it
was presented to her.
If Mimi and the screenwriter knew each other beforehand.
That's what I was trying to figure out, if they were like besties. I want to say they probably, because
it
being
feels
Hollywood,
like it. Yeah,
I think they probably knew.
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm like, in my mind, they were besties, and they were like, "Hey, I got this thing. We could both do a feature."
So cute.
So I was gonna go sip my wine, but I want to get to this. So, kind of continuing on the tone element of this. So the idea of consumption of women, dehumanization of women. This is obviously a cannibal movie, but that is not really what this movie is about. So they work together, Mimi and Lauren work together a lot to kind of tackle this idea of the physical meat of things together and kind of how that would show to audiences. So from script to screen. And how it kind of, they had a lot of conversations about objectification, stripping away personhood, and reducing women to body parts. Which, yay, we all know this, don't we?
Yes.
But again, it's also funny. And so Daisy Edgar Jones actually talks about this balance from her perspective too. And she says, quotes, you find yourself laughing or you find yourself enjoying something, and it's almost like you feel guilty about it because then you realize what you're watching. I think as a woman or a femme identifying person, or presenting person, it is tough because it is entertaining, but it's also like, I'm like, no man's allowed to watch this. Like, fuck off if you have anything to say about this movie. I don't want to hear it from you.
Yeah.
I get this rage. I think, like, this feels like a movie I just, like, only want to watch by myself. Or amongst,
or amongst femmes of some variety. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of love that Daisy Jones, because we see interviews, we see how some people actors talk on the red carpet, don't acknowledge that. So she talks about feeling guilty when you realize what you're watching, and it really does, that kind of tone. She says, I find it so enjoyable because it sort of makes you feel like the more uncomfortable weirdly, because you shouldn't really be enjoying what you're watching because it's so dark. It means that you're always feeling slightly unsettled, which I think is really good for this film.
Agreed.
Yeah, and it is one of those things that, especially watching it for the first time, I've only watched this, I want to say 3 times. First time, I feel like a first watch for something like this, I don't like to watch trailers for things, so I usually go in blind. Second time, it sinks in, and then when we watch things for the podcast, I look at things from a different angle.
It's a very different kind of watching.
Yeah, and it was different for me watching from this angle of more of analytical and not, like, it is so entertaining for me, but it is this thing that I battle with watching, that like, God, they nailed it, but also like, fuck, this is just so real to me and to a lot of people.
Even just describing it, like, Dana came home partway through me watching and asked what it was about, and I started describing, like, oh, it's this The spoiler alert, it's this man and he's kidnapping women and cutting them up while they're still alive to sell their parts for meat.
Super
And
chill.
she her reaction like was so visceral that it's like, I think
Ooh.
particularly because I don't know about you, but like I'm much more scared of being harmed while I'm alive than I am of being
Yeah.
killed.
Yeah.
Um and this really gets at that in a very brutal way. As I think
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs does in a different kind of way as
In a
well.
different,
Yeah.
in a very like different. This one is a little bit more in your face. And yeah, I mean, I'm
Mhm.
absolutely, this is a concept that I think that's why not that I like the torture, like we talked about doing Saw before and Hostels and things
Mhm.
like that. And those truly are films that deep down are the most terrifying movies for
Yeah.
me. And I love them, but they also like are so, I don't know. It's just, it's such a fear because it's a fear that is real and
Mhm.
presented and it exists everywhere around
Absolutely.
us
Yeah.
in so many cases for women and femme people. And it's just like, it is a tough watch for me
Mhm.
for some of these. This one
Mhm.
is the one that I actually think I'm like, I love Sebastian Stan, so like I feel like my brain goes, oh, he's just a little cutie patootie outside of here, so I don't have to be worried. But yeah, it's
He also looks
that's
kind of
interesting.
short, which feels like it plays into it as well. I don't know how
I think
tall
he's like
he actually is, but
5'8". I
something
think
like
he's
that.
a semi short king. Who
Yeah.
knows? He's probably tall for Hollywood, but so,
So true.
so um so I have where do I want to go from here? Sorry guys, I'm rereading my notes because I do have a lot of quotes, but sometimes I feel like it just reiterates the thing that me and
Mm.
Sienna have like just talked about with each other.
I'm so sorry. I'm also
So
so chatty about this one because like I have so much to say about it.
those are my notes. I told you
Yeah,
there was like not a
great.
lot of things. I feel like it was this one is very like not giving our opinions, but it is something that me and you have
Have
to deal
opinions
with
about.
and
Yeah.
have opinions about. So, I do have a quote from screenwriter Lauren kind of touching on this idea of this polarizing like
Mhm.
tone that we see. So she said there's this feeling that I think only women understand. This is why I'm like sometimes do I read these this subconscious way we operate in the world
Mhm.
where we park, do we have our keys, is our friend on
Mhm.
speed dial, things that men don't have to think twice about. I want to explore that in a big way, as well as trust and women's fears. So this is kind of where I had like a moment to myself, and this is where I want to kind of present a question for you, like when she talks about
Mm.
all these things that we have to think about.
Mhm.
I was just trying to think of like what's the most, this is like where all my arguments with men come from, or I'm like, I don't know,
Mhm.
I'm going to argue with you but you're not allowed to speak in this
Right.
moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, even think about just like if you were to ask a man with a femme or a woman,
Mhm.
what does it look like when you come out of a grocery store at night and you go home?
Right.
What does that thought process look like you?
Mhm.
The answers you're going to get
Are
are
so widely
wild.
different. Yeah.
Like if I were to ask, I feel like someone would just be like, well, I would just get my keys out and I go to my car and I drive home.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I would like ask you, like, what does that step by step process look like for you?
Oh, yeah, no, I have my keys in between my fingers, hidden in my coat pocket. I'm like getting those ready before I leave the store. I'm like
Hmm.
getting ready to turn the flashlight on my
Hmm.
phone. Yeah, all of those things. I'm like
Yeah.
planning a route out before I leave the store so that I'm going to go
Yep.
by the most lights.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make eye contact with any women that I'm passing so that
Yeah.
one of them will like recognize my face if I like show
Yeah.
up on a missing
Yeah.
poster. All of those
Yeah.
things. Those
Yeah,
casual
yeah,
things. Yeah.
locking the doors as soon as you get in,
Oh,
making sure
absolutely.
you're getting the groceries in the car fast. It's like all these
Mhm.
things, and it's just I love that. I think that's also like partly in why this film didn't do as wasn't as big as we wanted it to because of what it's
Mm.
talking about. But
Mhm.
it just like sitting there with that fact of like what does that look like, and the fact that
Yeah.
women always have to be on this defense, and we don't. I like don't even know what that would be like to not have to think about those things
Agreed.
at
Agreed.
all times
It's
since, I mean, I feel like I was probably like 6 years old, 5 years old when I felt like I
yeah,
first had to be really hyper aware of these things.
agreed. Yeah, it's from like such an early age. And
Yeah.
it stays with you forever. I just realized I think Hold on one second. Oh no, I'm all good. Okay. Just wanted to check that my my mic cable was not sitting on top of the microphone in a way that was going to keep you from hearing me okay.
Speaking of worrying about things.
Yes. I'm so sorry.
You were like, wait a
Constant
second.
double
As I'm going through my
yeah.
as I'm going through my checklist, wait a second.
Did I mention that I have OCD?
Yeah, and the OCD. This is like two on the nose for you. So
Truly.
I just love that they had a lot of those conversations. That was a lot of the interviews that I read were talking about these things. That's obviously a lot of the information that I'm bringing to you today. So I do have some statistics. It is from one source. So there were like a million sources. I'm not going to sit there and weed through stats that change percentages by 3. So this is from a website, Women Helping Women. So they have some things on their website. It matched up a lot of things. I was trying to find statistics of what dating. So this is obviously the first 30 minutes is about dating and going on dates. And when I tell you every date that I used to go on, I would say I have a knife in my boot and I know how to use it. And that was how I greeted people, Travis included. So he can back you up on that. I learned in Chicago how to use my knife, and I still have it. So I have some stats. Just if people didn't know these things, roughly 50% of women report experiencing harassment on dates. So that's I'm sure they looked at a lot of these stats when they were doing this too, ranging from unwanted touching, explicit messages. So we do see that represented in this, especially at the beginning after her date when she said she doesn't want to go on a date with him again. He immediately cusses her out. I forget what he says, but it's just like raise your hand if you've been personally victimized. But like we've all experienced these things. I think 57% is low. I want to say that has to be 100%.
I also imagine it's higher for women of color too. I imagine it's higher
for
trans
and
women.
That's the thing too. Yep. I do not know what pools they pulled from. There's so many different resources to look at this information. I was trying to look pre-COVID because
for sure, because that was also a different dating worlds. And it feels like this movie takes place pre-COVID as well. Like I know it's not explicit, but it doesn't feel like it's
pre-COVID, so
that makes sense. Like it doesn't feel like it's 2022 immediately post the absolute worst of the pandemic, you know? I don't think there's anybody wearing a mask in this movie at any point.
Very much pre-COVID. And so we also have, again, it's roughly 43% of women report continued unwanted contact after. So we see a lot of these topics brought up. It was talking about women from ages 18 to 34. They did have trans women included, people of color included in these stats for them. And they have those stats on their website. So that's where I pulled that from. But again, it's just like these stats seem low because I'm also like, who speaks up? I want to say every single femme or woman that I've talked to has had these experiences, and we see those right up front. That date that she is on in the beginning absolutely haunts me. Because it's just we've all been on one. At least one.
Been on one, and even like I've been on queer dates that are like that. Like it's
This is why the kids today. Hey Gen Z, anyone listening? Men aren't lonely enough. Is that the new thing people are saying? Because they really aren't. They could be lonelier.
Make men lonelier 2026.
Truly. Moving away from that, I don't know why I decided after that. Speaking of stats and numbers, want to guess the budget? What the fuck, Al? Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Listen, I am like devastated by the state of the world. I'm having a really hard time forming thoughts.
It's like really hard to be a human being right now. Like
I'm gonna drink my wine while you guess.
Have at it. Okay, let's see. Let me stall so you have some time to drink.
Please do.
I feel like we've got two actors who. Sebastian Stan in particular, I imagine they had to pay him a whole lot. I know
I tried to look up the breakdown of everything too, and I couldn't
I'm
find
sure
it.
that's not out there, like publicly accessible.
I wish.
I imagine that Daisy Edgar Jones probably made less than Sebastian Stan, but still a lot because she's coming off of Normal People. 10 million?
That's what I would have thought.
Yeah.
I think their pockets got a little bit more filled than me and you think. It was 15 to 20 million estimation.
Where? For what?
That's what I was saying.
Actor salaries. For actor salaries.
I think it's for actor salaries. I also I couldn't find a lot of like production facts too, so I can't even say if it
what it
was,
would have.
oh, all the meat that they had to make was
Right.
made from, and like there wasn't even that much of that. So
Ugh.
I think it went into
Ugh.
actors' pockets because
There,
again,
there's
directorial debut, screenwriting debut. Yes,
and
those are
there's
big names, but
true, but like, again, I'm sure Daisy Edgar Jones was not making as much as Sebastian Stan was. And
no.
like, I imagine that we really only see the meat a couple of times where it's like in human form, like
Hmm.
in a leg or something like that. A lot of the time when it's in packages, it's probably just real like pork meat. Like
Oh yeah, we'll talk about. We're almost to meat.
the meat section. Okay, I'm gonna shut up so we can get to the meat.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry everyone for that like jump. No grace. I have no grace. So, locations, it obviously takes place. Oh yeah, it takes place near Portland, but it
Oh,
was shot entirely in British Columbia, which I feel like so many of the films I cover are in
mm-hmm.
Canada, and they
Texas.
shot about 6 weeks from January till mid-March. So very short shoot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very 6 weeks feels accurate.
That's
So
yeah.
cinematographer. So if the visuals look familiar to you, which after I read this, I was like, it does look familiar to me. Very much a cinematographer with the style.
Oh my
Do you
god,
want to take a guess?
I just had a guess. Oh,
Oh my god, please.
is it what's his name who did the Love Witch?
Oh no. I thought
No?
well, I didn't I'm gonna have Trav look. Let me open up my chat
I think I'd
actually.
recognize the name if you read it. What's the name?
Okay. His name is it's Polish cinematographer. It's Paweł Porgozelski.
Oh my gosh, I do recognize
I
this. Where do I
butchered that.
recognize it from? It's
Well, from
uh,
a film you hate, Midsommar. Film I love, just to clear the air. Me and Sienna are very on opposite. We have to have like a love-hate
we really
episode.
do.
He
Yeah.
did Hereditary, Beau is Afraid, and he also worked with Mimi again on Holland in 2025.
Oh my gosh. Oh, also, did not do the Love Witch. Travis says that Sebastian is 6 feet tall. He does not look six
He
feet
gives Short
tall.
King.
I feel like they shot him to look shorter in this because, like, there were a
They
couple of
might have.
times. I don't know if it was that they put his wife in really tall heels, but there were a couple of times where he's sharing a shot with somebody else and he looks
Mm,
short by comparison.
yeah, he gives like short, stocky.
He does.
Trust
He
very upset for
does.
saying this. Listen, I don't care if that man is 5'2". I love him.
Yes. That's not an
Wow.
insult. We love a short
Damn.
king.
Yeah. Anyways, I could have a Sebastian Stan episode.
Yeah.
So, yes, so we have Paweł Pogorzelski is his name.
Cool.
He did all of those films, and I feel like his style is very much like the way he kind of handles with like his aerial perspectives that he has, especially in some of
Mhm.
the surgery scenes. He also like builds tension. I think you kind of mentioned it earlier too. Like everything feels like even in the beginning scenes. Oh, you were talking about the
The
eating,
mouth
like the
shots,
mouth
yeah.
shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they're very like you're just like, ooh, can we back up
Yeah.
from that? Can we get away from this? He has this ability to do that, I think, in very different ways. I have not seen Holland and I've not seen Beau is Afraid, so I can't speak to those. But in Midsommar
Mhm.
and Hereditary, I do feel like he kind of has this ability to make you feel a little unsettled with his framing. And so as soon as I read that, I was like, that makes sense why it
I
is
I
familiar.
gotta hand it to him. As much as I hate Midsommar, the cinematography was great. Same thing
I
with
mean,
Hereditary.
yeah,
Movie's not my thing. I do think it was shot incredibly.
yeah. Good. I'm glad you put one nice thing with Sienna. Everybody remember that.
It's the one nice
We're
thing you'll hear
keeping
me say
that.
about it ever. But I will say that.
So here's where we get into the meat section. We've made it.
We've made it to the
So
meats.
we've made it to the meats. So kind of like you mentioned, we have a mix of meats. So we have some
Mhm.
edible foods,
Mhm.
mostly marinated pork. So you were on the nose with that. And then obviously props.
Mhm.
And for the food, they hired an on-set chef who prepared everything for them, which I think is like
Amazing.
so cool and
So
fun and
fancy.
yeah,
Yeah.
so fancy. And so
Everybody
they
needs someone to cook for them.
listen. Human food.
Mhm.
And so they worked really closely together with the chef. So Mimi, I don't know, and the production team worked really closely with him to make things look visually a bit unsettling, but
Mhm.
still real, which I think is really interesting that they weren't just trying to make it look like regular food. They wanted something to be a little bit off, obviously, because it's human meat and not pork. That's what it's supposed to be. Director Mimi said they used different fun secret ingredients in the foods that were all edible to create something that looked kind of insane, is what she said in quotes, and somewhat grotesque on screen, but obviously so the actors could eat them still.
I hate that she's not telling us what it is. That's really upsetting.
I have a quote from her. I think she forgets. So she says, oh yeah, she literally says, quote, I can't remember each ingredient for each thing,
God,
but
okay.
They were always trying to get the right color, the right sort of texture, the right tone of everything, so that when it read across the screen, it seemed kind of familiar, but maybe a little unfamiliar. Ugh. I don't eat meat, so I'm
this
very horrified.
Definitely felt like another film made by a vegetarian in the Texas Chainsaw line.
Yeah. It's been almost 15 years since I ate meat. So I though I like the aromas of meat, like if someone's cooking a steak or burger, like things smell very appetizing to me. But then like the thought of that being a carcass on a plate
is upsetting.
Absolutely horrifies me. And I'm just like, I don't think I could ever do this again, you know? And vegetarian food has come a long way. So
this is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're at the meat section. I don't have much after that. Would you like to share your thoughts?
Okay. Listen, I know that Daisy Edgar Jones does not have the biggest ass, but she still has an ass, and they did absolutely nothing to hide it.
Okay,
and
I was wondering if you noticed that too.
Me.
Right, and I'm like, if they took your girl's ass, like again, she seems like no offense to her, she's gorgeous. She seems like someone who doesn't have an ass.
Yeah,
to begin with, and then I want it concave. I
do too. Like
I see a cheek.
Yes, I can see a full-on cheek, and I'm like, if that is one of the big points of your character is that she's just had her ass removed, then I don't want to see her actually be able to sit down on a toilet. She would not be able to do that. Like, what are we doing?
Right?
And B, I want either for you to put the actress in like a butt binder. I don't know if that exists, but I want you to make one.
Yeah.
Or
Skims.
Exactly. Ultra Skims. Dana had like a hilarious idea that I actually think might have worked. Like it would have been terrible on set, but okay, imagine this. You cut the butt cheeks out of the costume, like out of the dress or whatever. Because part of the problem is also she's wearing this very like loose, flowy clothing. And so like you can't show like a tight silhouette, which I think would have been better if they had done that and had done Spanx, because then it would actually seem like an impact. But anyway, if you've got to do these loose, flowy clothes because she's like being dressed up like a doll, which I get.
Yeah.
Cut the butt cheeks out and have her wearing like a green suit underneath it, and then CG the butt cheeks out.
Right? Or like even like pad under her butt. Like drag queen style. Pad under the butt and above the back so she is like this.
Exactly. And I think you should have like maybe done like a little bit of stuffing beforehand to make it seem like her ass beforehand was bigger. Give her some
cheek
cheeks.
Her up.
Cheek her up. Cake her up.
She would have loved that.
Otherwise, like it just does not have the impact that it's meant to have, that a piece of her body is missing when that piece of her body is visibly there. Like that was my biggest complaint about this whole movie. Like I genuinely really enjoyed it.
Her
except
butt's
for
still
that.
There.
Her butt's still there, y'all.
They weren't eating much cake. I wonder how much they paid for that, you know? Like, does the cake slice a cake? That's really funny, actually. No, trust me, it's like notable, and it does bum me out that I'm like, they go to all these lengths to make everything. Oh my God. The puns for this one are really hard to escape. Everything's fresh. It's meaty.
It's all right on the surface, right on the skin.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had the same complaint. So I'm so glad that you saw it, because
very
like
validating.
It's not like it like matters, because like whatever.
No,
but it is something that like they made this point that her ass gets taken off, and she's still. I'm like, she did not have a donk before, so how is there anything left?
Exactly. Give her a fake donk before, at the very goddamn least.
Truly.
Then I could buy that they cut like part of her ass off.
Yeah, there's not a gay person on the set to advise giving her an ass. We should have been there.
Truly. We need an ass expert on this set.
Truly. Me and you. We are there.
Yeah,
taglines and ass. We got it.
Okay, that would also
Hello?
be a great t-shirt. Taglines and ass.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We haven't had a merch idea in a while, so
That's a
that's
really
on
good
there.
one.
Trav, note it. Moving on to dance sequences. So again, we kind of like touched on it. We're pulling that pin out of our head at this point. So obviously, there's 3, like we said. There's the one at the beginning in the kind of rom-com, as consultants, Trav said. There is the rom-com version we get. There is the version of Sebastian Stan as Steve alone, dancing through very a la Saltburn. And then we have that end kind of choreographed one. So we're going to be talking about the choreographed one with the 2 of them. So obviously that was to showcase the character's manipulative charm, which he is so good at. And
Very
I feel like
charming.
he's so charming. I feel like it's such a perfect, like, pivotal moment where you're seeing, like, how well what she's doing is working on him, that he's like, "Oh my god, remember when we were dancing at my place? And now look at us. We're so in sync, and we weren't
Yeah.
in sync before." It's
We finish each other's
genius.
sandwiches.
Yeah, truly, truly. Oh my god, I love that you made a Disney reference to me. So it's obviously a callback, and so the scene we get with them at the beginning with Sebastian Stan and Daisy Edgar Jones, they kind of talked about how it was just the 2 of them kind of vibing and riffing off each other in the beginning. That's why it's a little bit more fluid. He said they improvised it. They were kind of like looking at each other, being like, "What's your move?" And then they would kind of just like play off of each other.
That's
but
cute.
It's super cute. To dance with that man, to be in that room with them. There's like videos of them behind the scenes too, doing
They
the
must
dance
have had the
together.
best time. Yeah.
And the fact that he like wanted to work with her too. So, but the dance at the end was choreographed. So they worked with Megan Lawson, who I looked up. She has choreographed Adele's "Oh My God" music video, which I've not seen. She appeared in La La Land. She also does online courses and I think in-person dance lessons as well.
Cool.
And she's currently choreographing Madonna's Rebel Here tour.
Oh my
I don't know.
gosh.
I don't
Amazing. The new Madonna tour, whatever that is.
Yeah. So that's what she's currently doing according to her website. So if her website is updated and Madonna is on tour, then those things align, or it was past and that's what she did. So,
we don't know.
I don't know. I don't keep up with the comings and goings of Madonna at this point in my life.
Not in this day and age, yeah.
Not anymore. Old Madonna, yes. New Madonna, I'm good. So Sebastian Stan talks about the dancing in an interview, saying that director Mimi had the idea of the synchronized dance at the end of the movie. He said, quote, "I remember we had both," meaning him and Daisy, "had been so worried about kind of keeping the movie and the characters as grounded as possible. And it's like, how can we get to that moment? But I have to say, with rehearsals and then this it sort of found its way there." So I kind of agree with him that could go really wrong. I also think the way that it was shot is
could go really wrong, but it's really great.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's one of those moments that like, I don't feel like there are a lot of films, especially on the podcast, we talk about like all of our favorite films and what stands out. And I do have a lot of standout moments, but there aren't a lot of films that do have such standout moments that like the moment I saw that scene of them dancing and them both staring out, and the fact that she's just like, you can see the nothingness in his face and just all the things going through hers.
Calculation in hers, yeah.
And it just has always stood out. So I love that Mimi kind of had this vision. That moment was written into the script as well. And then I know I didn't write a lot about it. They had, obviously with the song choices they spent a lot of time. I think the song choices were even in the script from Lauren Kahn. She knew exactly what she wanted. So again,
cool.
I feel like her and Mimi I'm going to just say they were always besties and they're forever besties after
this. They
this.
must have been.
Shared a brain.
Finished each other's sandwiches.
Moving on. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, no, I thought you were going to say something. Sorry.
I have so many things to say, Sienna. It's hard because, like, I don't know. I hope people don't hear it. Like, we kind of have like a 2-second, 1-second lag. And so sometimes we step over each other more than we probably do when we get excited anyways. But I like, I try
It's
to
a
like
little
hold
harder, yeah, being at a distance,
so
but
far. So this is where we get into I kind of have a breakdown of the character representations in the film and what they mean and like
Ah,
what their characters were supposed to represent in this. So
mhm,
obviously this is social commentary film about misogyny, how victims
mhm.
are kind of treated and overlooked. And I think this film for me is so satisfying because instead of like the typical horror tropes we might get with I wouldn't say an ensemble cast, but we do have some like very few characters and they
It's
kind of all
smaller,
have their
yeah.
place. It's smaller. I like that we kind of see the representation of them as different victim experiences. And so it
Mm.
feels again fresh in that way
Mhm,
to watch. So as we dive in, we have Penny and Melissa, poor Melissa.
mhm,
Um, they're obviously invisibility, exploitation. Steve clearly chooses women that he deems, I wouldn't say that are, but he deems
mhm,
weak or kind of have no external connections that we can
mhm,
find. That's why Molly is so important, is because Noah has this friend that's going to be
mhm.
looking for her. She has people that are going to look for her if she does not reply to texts,
Yeah.
people that will go to bat for her. And so Penny and Melissa are kind of this opposite of that. This is antithesis of those people. They're weak. They don't have a society around them, and kind of how society overlooks those victims as
Mhm.
well. Like Melissa kind of goes and she's kind of
What
gone,
happens? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
you know?
Don't
And
they eat
so,
part of Melissa at one point in one of the meals?
yeah, I think they eat Melissa in
I
like the
think they eat part
second
of
meal.
Melissa, yeah.
Poor
So she
Melissa.
comes cracking away, but it's not a good
Yeah.
one.
Poor Melissa was like, she was out of her mind at that point. So hopefully she didn't
Yeah.
realize what was going on too much. But think of how long she had to be there to like
To
get
get to that
to that
point, yeah.
place. So that's kind of their characters. We obviously have Molly. She's solidarity. She is risking helping her friend. Again, this is where we get the friends like get out. This is where people
Mhm,
call a lot the fact that we have this person of color going to like a white person putting her friend who is a person of color right into danger to
mhm,
save her. Um, but she's supposed to represent kind of trusting your gut and knowing your friends and kind
mhm.
of caring for them.
I also think there's, like, an argument that it's kind of real that I feel like a woman of color might be a little more likely in that situation to, like, actually take it seriously soon enough to go after her
Yeah.
friend, of,
Yeah.
like, having experienced worse shit, being like, I know how bad this could get. I'm gonna
Absolutely.
act from the get-go. I did when I started the movie in the first half hour, I was like, don't make this another black best friend. Like
Oh,
we have
yeah.
so many of those. And then it is that. And
Mhm.
also I was pleasantly surprised that Molly got more characterization and
Mhm.
also as the movie went on got to be more of a person.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it becomes important that Molly has community too. That like
Yeah.
she
She is someone looking for her.
cuz like it sounds like Noah really only has Molly. Molly
Mhm.
like has roots there. Molly has people plural who can
She
come
has a
after her.
job, so they could call I
Mhm.
mean,
We
corporate
see how many people
America.
are around Molly. Like we
Yeah.
know that it's it's more so than Noah. She's her sense of
Mhm.
community is like what saves everyone
Mhm.
basically.
Mhm.
Um
That's what
yeah.
I think, I mean, yeah, again, as like we talked about it as a woman having to, or like a female presenting femme having to be always aware, add
Mhm.
then person of color, another minor,
Mhm.
like I can't imagine then add on to that,
Right.
the
Yeah.
cross section. And yeah, I'm happy that they brought her back. She definitely has more community than Noah, which is nice to see. And
Mhm.
she's like, I love her character in
She's
this. And
so
it
yeah. The actress does an amazing job.
Yeah, when she's on screen, you're like, "Can I just follow this story for a little bit?" It almost feels like you want it to be
Yeah.
not that I don't, I love Noah and I love her character, and I love that she immediately they have her go right to her friend. She's like, no, like she goes right to save her as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's where I see the criticism for this.
Agreed. Yeah.
It's the main one that I come across. So I think
Mhm.
it's super valid. I can't speak. I'm a white person. I can't I'm not the person to add commentary onto that.
Yeah.
So, but she is supposed to be solidarity and community, and I think that's also why Steve's character is so threatened by her
Mhm.
immediately. Is he sees kind of the friendship that is there,
Yeah.
and then we have fucking Anne, who is complicit. She's internalized oppression. And I also think or Stockholm syndrome
I had the same
too.
thought. Yeah, because like clearly she's been down there, right? Like this is like
Oh yeah.
the next evolution of Noah, which was like the other layer of like whiteness in it that I thought was like kind of
Mhm.
doing interesting things, was this
Mhm.
idea of like it very much felt believable to me with like the horrible person that Sebastian Stan's character is, that like the one that he's going to have the weakness around and the
Mhm.
sense of like not being willing to see as a danger to himself is the
Mhm.
white woman. Like
Mhm.
that's going to happen with her, not with Molly. And we
Yeah.
see that that's true because it's what's already happened with his wife.
Yeah.
And that felt very like there's something real there.
It's also like I don't know if that was like an extra twist for you where it's like you knew the
Mhm.
cannibalism part, but like I think her character is always so like
That's
you
shocked
see
me.
her,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the
Mhm.
second she comes back around and you're like, how is she not like this is her moment. This is her moment
Yeah.
to
She could actually get
be
out
a
now.
girl's
She
girl
yes.
and run and be free and they can all make
Yeah.
it. And she's still held. So I'm like kind of curious with some interviews I've read that like Lauren and director Mimi kind of talk about how she was obviously once a victim, like we said,
Mhm.
but kind of internalized and enabled her abuser. So we do get that line from Molly where she says, oh my God, what does she say? It's so funny too. She's kind of like, oh, like it's like women like you, like of why we,
Yeah.
God, I forget the line now because I
I
watched it
do
a few
too,
days
but it
ago
was yeah, I know what you're talking
and I
about.
didn't write it. So we get her saying that. So it's like, is it Stockholm? Is it that? So I do have I did bring in some cases of real life Stockholm syndrome
Amazing.
cases that happen. So we have if you guys want to like look more into these cases, I do have some little nuggets about that. So we have 1973 Stockholm case, which is where 4 hostages were held for 6 days in a bank vault and ultimately refused to testify against their captors,
Mhm.
with one even raising money for their defense. Again, I can't
Whoa.
speak to what things would be like in this situation. I also have um I think it takes me a little bit put a pin into this. We're going to get to kind of like the opposite side. So I
Mm.
what Noah was doing. We'll get to that in a
Mhm.
second. We have the case of Mary McElroy, which was in 1933, which I think is wild that that was
Oh.
documented.
Wow.
She was held captive for 34 hours and befriended her kidnappers, and then later protested the death sentence
Wow.
and kind of cited her sympathy for them in that. So I think that's like the earliest case that
That's
I read and kind of
fascinating.
the list. I didn't realize they were documented that far back. We have JC Duggard from 1991. She was held for 18 years and helped her captor run his business and didn't attempt to escape because she was convinced her safety depended on him, which I
Mm.
think could be argued for Anne too, is he's
Yeah.
already done these things. He's made her even weak. She has children with him.
Mhm.
I don't know. And
It's
you know what I mean? There's
it's
so
very
many layers.
complicated. Yeah.
But those are some cases that if anyone listening is interested in reading a little bit more of
Mhm.
Stockholm syndrome cases, but yeah, it was hard to see where Anne and Lauren were coming from. I think it could be either or, but I feel I almost feel like the line that Molly throws at her, it's like, yeah, it's women like you, why we can't, be better or whatever the line
Mhm.
is. But I also feel like it's a very real thing to know that Stockholm syndrome exists, and
True.
as I don't know what that is like.
Yeah,
So
and that's
just
part of why it's so horrifying when that moment happens after he's dead and she keeps going. It's so like
mhm.
I fully read her as having Stockholm syndrome, and I think it's
Mhm.
giving you clues that it's moving in the direction of her breaking from him, because we see her discover that he's put his phone in a box, and like that he's having these dates, and like
Mhm.
it's kind of leading you to believe that that's gonna make her snap out of it, and she just
Uh-huh.
doesn't. She
Just
just
does not.
doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, and it kills me. It like hurts to watch.
Mhm.
Um So I do have a quote from screenwriter Lauren kind of talking about how they want to like what they wanted to say about women like through Anne's character specifically.
Mhm.
She says, quote, they're complicated, but they're definitely the evil ones. So again, this is where I like have a hard time because it feels like I don't want to call them like a shallow attempt at Anne. Like I felt like Anne's character could have
Could have
been
been
less
deeper.
shallow. Okay.
There could have been more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just, I'm going to preface that. So she says, quote, "They're complicated, but they're definitely the evil ones. I was strangely thinking about Donald Trump's election at a certain point." I hate saying that man's name. "When I was writing this, and those white women that were kind of the reason we got there." Yes, they fucking are.
Yeah,
White
true.
women need to do better. So absolutely.
This is true.
Even with reproductive rights, there's all these things that you're just like, what are you doing? So it's very interesting to me because I was writing during all of that. It's like you're not putting all the blame on them, but those are the worst ones. And I fully agree. I mean, again, we're looking at this now in 2026. Boy, did we not know we had it better than we were going to have it now. And so I do appreciate Lauren's view on that it is the white woman's job. The white, like it's Anne's very specific, like you said, you just clock her. You kind of know the type. They're the ones that uphold, like those white women are the ones that uphold this structure for these men to do these things to
100%.
their own group. And again, I like, it's hard for me to talk about this film because especially right now, I just want to fucking go off and scream and yell and drink my wine and kiki with you right now. But I'm going to shut my mouth and move on. But I do find it so interesting that, you know, she was thinking about the white women and Donald Trump and the election at this time when it's watching it now again in 2026. I haven't watched it. I don't think I've watched it since 2023.
Oh, wow.
Which it feels like, I mean, that feels like such a wildly different time.
It was a wildly different time. Yeah, it was.
Same, but different.
Yeah. Still not good, but
not great.
Now it's even worse. Yeah.
But now worse. We also have the clients. So obviously they're objectifying, they're the consumption. They're the ones that are, you know, representative of society, consuming, literally consuming women, you know, treating them as this product that they can, you know, just buy and exchange. And we get that scene of them overhead. It always reminds me of The Shining.
That. Yeah, it is very The Shining. Very, like, I feel like the guy with the dog mask
he would have been
sitting at
seated
that
at the table. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, probably below the table, but he's there.
Absolutely.
He's underneath the cloth.
Thank you. And then we get to Noah. So obviously she is awareness. She's the every woman. She's the final girl. She's the one that is the most realistic portrayal of someone navigating modern dating at the time. But obviously she's very realistic in being wary of everything, right? So she kind of taps into this thing that's like like I was saying, the opposite of Anne, right? So what's the opposite of Anne? She kind of uses this tactic versus kind of falling into it. It's kind of like a survival mechanism. She befriends her captor, right? So where Stockholm syndrome is, you know, the captor is there's not like a conscious effort of falling for the captor. It's kind of on the head. So it is actually called it's a real survival tactic that you can use to befriend your captor knowingly, right? So it's not unconscious. It's something that you're using. It's called Lima syndrome.
Oh,
which I'd not heard of before.
Neither had I.
So yeah, so it comes from a hostage crisis in Lima, Peru in 1996.
Whoa.
And the case had several hundred guests at a party held by a Japanese ambassador. He had a bunch of high-level diplomats and government officials there, and they held them all hostage. But then they ultimately ended up releasing many of them because they started developing sympathy for them. So that's where we get stuttered over that. So that's where we get Lima syndrome, which I feel like that's so interesting because I know I've heard of cases when I used to work for My Favorite Murder. I would have to update like the website with the description and like what the episode was about. And there were so many cases, more than I feel like than I could find online. Honestly, I should have just gone to their website. But there's so many cases where people do use this, and I never knew that it had a name this
like
whole
that.
time.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I'd never heard of Lima syndrome.
Yeah. And I thought, like, what an interesting. So if you're interested in looking up, there's a lot more information about that situation. Cool. But I think it's crazy to think that we didn't even have a name for this until 1996.
That's wild.
Of course we didn't, you know? So marketing and audience reaction. This is where I'm going to have you pull up your photos that I sent you in a little bit. So it was supposed to have its world premiere in Park City on January 20th, 2022 at Sundance. But of course, with COVID, there was still like things happening and people were still masked and we were not having premieres. So it
Mm-hmm.
shifted to online. And so it wasn't until March 3rd that there was a small premiere screening with the cast in
Oh
attendance.
my
And so that's what you
gosh.
have pictures of right now. It was at the Hollywood American Legion, and
Meet
Siena's looking at photos.
cute.
It was a meet cute. You said it earlier.
Oh my
It's meat spelled out like meat,
gosh.
obviously. And so
That's
they had
amazing.
several photo backdrops, including meet cute, and you can see Sebastian Stan and Daisy Edgar Jones are prom
Mm-hmm.
posing. There's a heart made of meat on the backdrop. They have little knives hung up. There's a whole charcuterie
Mm-hmm.
spread, and they created like all
Amazing.
this display for them. So we have Gina Wade. She was she creative directed this whole spread, and they
That's
had this
so cool.
reception. And yeah, you can look up
Ugh.
photos of it. It's cool. They have like glass jars, they have raw meat, boxes of snacks,
Oh my
and they have little things
gosh.
shaped like body parts there as well. And I think that's so sweet. And I feel like it's again very encompassing of like what this production probably was. Like,
What the
what a
vibe was.
wholesome thing to do
I
for
know. And
like your
also,
little
like,
like
it's also like kind of diabolical, some of the things that they've included on this platter. Like, there are things that you see in the
are
movie.
you zoomed in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta zoom in. I don't wanna like lose my yeah, it's very
It's
meat
pretty on the
heavy.
nose. Yes. There's a lot of meats. A lot of
Yeah.
meats.
Lot of meats. So they did end up having that for themselves, which I think is super, super cute that they did that. So we can include photo links
Hmm.
again in descriptions for you all to look at, or if you want to Google, look up fresh meat cute premiere party and you'll find them. Uh, so because of it being 2022, COVID, it being online premiere, it was released on Hulu and Disney Plus. So I don't have any box office numbers for us, but
Hmm.
it was said to have ranked among the top watched films of March of 2022. So I imagine it
I
did pretty
imagine it
well.
probably did about as well as it could have under the circumstances. Like,
Truly. Who
it's
knows what that
hard to
looks
make your money
like?
back without a theatrical release, especially when you
Yeah.
spent that much money, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like, this had very big stars.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm curious, actually looking up how Howland did for her. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
probably gonna look that up after this. I didn't bring those. So rounding out, I'm almost done. I have critics response. So I
Mm.
didn't put a lot, but I do have my letterbox. I have
Amazing.
6.7 out of 10 on IMDb. I think this is the closest Rotten Tomatoes score I have. 82 from critics, 80 from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think I've ever had audiences and critics agree that much on a film that I've covered.
Wait, tell me the two again?
82% from critics and 80 from audience.
Wow, that's close.
I know.
Yeah.
They never agree.
Yeah.
And
Fascinating.
then we have some letterbox reviews. So like I said, we've already talked about The White Woman's Get Out. That one's my
Mm-hmm.
favorite. We have I Could Fix Him. It's really something
Yeah.
I say about Sebastian
Mm-hmm.
Stan, not that character. Someone saying this would never happen to me because I have social anxiety. Same.
True.
And then,
Also true.
and then my last one, if Sebastian Stan proposed a weekend getaway after we danced around listening to Blood Orange and ate takeout dinner, hell, I'd end up there too.
Yeah, I think one of my notes was that the first half hour is very like manic pixie dream boy. Like it's very much like
Oh my god, he
a
is.
woman written man.
Yeah,
Like
he says all the right things, but not in like a creepy,
mhm.
like a princess way.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
You know?
Mhm.
I'm a lady. Yeah. So anyways, that is fresh.
Ah,
I'm glad. I actually talked to Trev's yelling at me like how long I've been talking. I'm surprised that we talked for this long, but
I had a
there was
feeling
a
it was
lot to
gonna
say.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
again, there's a lot of meat in the movie itself to dig into.
Yeah.
I also am
Yeah.
looking at my notes and I just wanted to shout out two things. One of which is that I loved, that like because they're so deep underground, there's like these
Hmm.
um kind of
Hmm.
like little sunlit patches throughout the
Yeah.
environment
Yeah. Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
so like it's obviously fake sunlight, like that's just like a giant light, but it's so unflattering and I love it. Like
Mm.
it's really harsh. It's not meant to make anybody look good. It makes everyone's skin look
Yeah.
terrible under it, no matter how
Yeah.
perfect they are. And that felt really you don't see that a whole lot these days. And
Yeah.
so I
Oh, I love
loved
that you
that
pointed that
choice.
out.
I
Yeah.
also needed to shout out Molly's coat when she goes to visit the house. Her
Yeah.
Bambi coat with the red
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, I
sash.
totally forgot to bring that up. Oh,
It's so,
right?
yeah, the imagery there of
With the
what
red
she's
ribbon
playing with.
tie-in.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you
Tying it
guys
all
haven't
together.
seen it, or yeah, she walks up to the door, she's wearing a literal, like, deerskin, or not real
Mhm.
deerskin, but, like, this Bambi coat, and there's a red ribbon tied in the back that looks like she's,
Bleeding.
been shot, yeah, and so
Mhm.
we very much know what's gonna
We know
happen
where things are going.
after
Yeah.
that, and
Mhm.
it's so good. Yeah, I didn't
And
wanna bring
also
that
I
up in
want
the very
that
beginning.
coat. And
I know. Oh
like,
my God. I know.
ugh.
We gotta look up where she got that because that coat's amazing. I totally forgot about that, but, I forgot about that imagery actually until this rewatch,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Holy shit."
It's
So
really
good.
good.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, actually.
The only other complaint I had was that I found it very difficult to track the passage of time in the real world
Oh, yeah.
once
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Molly was captured. Like, I was like, are we
Mhm.
still, did all these dinners happen on the same day, or has it been like weeks, but his wife's still waiting for him at home? Like, that whole period I was very
Yeah.
confused
Yeah,
by. But
yeah.
other than that and the fact that she had an ass, I was very content with this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna ask how would you rate it?
I'm not sure yet. I'm like,
Do you have coyotes in your backyard?
listen, those are my neighbor's dogs, and this happens all the time, and it's
'Cause I know, like,
terrible.
okay, because they sound like sorry, not to get distracted, but I heard them and I was like, "Am I
There
hearing things?" 'Cause I still get an echo of myself, and I was like, "I don't sound like a coyote, do I?"
there are also coyotes that come here at night, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's happening. Yeah.
So if anyone else is hearing things, it's not just you,
Sorry,
it's all of us.
guys. Yeah, you're not going insane.
Did
Um,
you go on to what you were saying?
that's it. That's yeah, those
Oh,
are all my fresh thoughts. Yeah,
yeah.
still trying to decide what I'd rate it. I'm like in between a 3.5 and a 4 right now. But I'm
Oh.
I'm positive on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good one. I again, I don't know if there's so many, like, kind of spoilers in this, but I do feel like it's so,
It's still worth
visually fun
watching.
to yeah,
Yeah.
everyone acts their fucking everyone acts their ass off.
No!
I was gonna say it unironically, and then I was like, "No, it's here, it is happening." So,
No! Oh my god. On that
on
note,
that note
we need a break.
yeah.
We'll be
We'll
right
be right
back.
back.
And
And we're
we're back.
back.
All right. The episode y'all have been waiting for,
Truly.
Silence of the Lambs, 1991. When did you first watch this movie, Al?
Oh my god. Honestly, I had, like, a friend in junior high that, showed it to me.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
So, I think it was then, like, my group of friends was really into, like, we watched, like, they introduced me to a lot of movies like that.
Mm-hmm. Do we have an apparition in the chat? There we
Get
go.
out of here.
Travis just haunted us for a moment. Sorry if y'all heard that.
Man, am I
Um,
right? Yeah, no,
always
I
popping up when they shouldn't be.
yeah, no, I think junior high was the first time, and then it's one of those films that always feel like it was just there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I know that she showed it to me for a fact, and I'm blanking on her name. But yeah, so I feel like that was the first time, and then I think I've seen it a few times. I mean, it's such a pop culture reference, and
Yeah.
like so just like
It's been
everyone
parodied so many times. It's yeah,
yeah.
it's everywhere.
Yeah. What about you?
I was probably around the same age when I first
Mhm.
watched it, like maybe around 11 or so.
Mhm.
And this after Psycho was the movie that scared me most as a child. Like,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
not second to Psycho, but like watched afterwards.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember in particular the scene where she finds the head in the jar, just
Mhm.
like the dread as you know that there's got to be something in that storage locker, but you really have no idea what kind of horrifying thing it's gonna be,
Right, right.
really, really got me. I honestly never found Buffalo Bill that scary. I only found
No,
the
he's
ending
cunty.
scene, yes, which like we're gonna get to
I hate to
that, don't
say it.
worry. Um, we'll talk all about that. We can't
Okay.
avoid it. With it's Silence of the
I
Lambs.
mean,
We have
yeah,
to address the
absolutely.
queerness and transness of it all, in all of its many shades.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
but it's yeah, it was hugely impactful, and it particularly also the scene with the night vision goggles at the very end where you're mainly
Mm,
responding to what you're hearing rather than seeing. That made
right.
like a big imprint on young Sienna. Um
Yeah.
but I hadn't watched it in a while, and this time I watched it with my trans partner, which was also have many Danatids of her
Yeah,
thoughts from
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we'll get there. I want to be very upfront about being like, I don't want to be one of those. You know, I often call myself cis. Like I'm not cis, but I'm not a trans woman.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to be one of those non-trans women feminists who just like
Mhm, mhm.
wants to claim Silence of the Lambs as a feminist movie and therefore shoves all of the trans misogyny, intentional or unintentional, to the side. So just like,
Right, right.
we will talk about it. I'm not just trying to like relegate it to the end, but we'll get there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Um, so Silence of the Lambs. We'll start with some taglines. We're going to
Yes.
start with simple, from the terrifying bestseller. We hate taglines like this. I don't just want to know about the novel. Presumably, if it's such a big part of
Right.
pop culture, I already do. We have maybe the longest tagline that I've gotten yet.
Real
Dr.
Oh my
Hannibal
god.
Lecter. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yes.
I was gonna say, Jesus, you've had some, like, long ones
I've
too,
had some
so
very
okay.
long ones. This one is many sentences. I'm not even going to count the number of sentences. It's many
Oh god,
sentences.
okay.
Um,
Okay.
okay, deep breath, everybody. Dr. Hannibal Lecter, brilliant, cunning, psychotic. In his mind lies the clue to a ruthless killer. Clarice Starling, FBI, brilliant, vulnerable, alone. She must trust him to stop the killer.
Oh my hello?
That's
Are we
all
gonna have
one tagline.
hello? You mean the script? The
Yes.
script you just read? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Like, that's a
Learn
full-on
when to
plot summary.
cut it.
What are we
I was
doing?
gonna say, that's a description of the film. Oh,
Then
boy.
we have this one is the one that has 3 exclamation marks at the end, so you need to know that going in.
Love. Yes.
May the silence be broken!
Oh my god. Actually, I love
It's
that.
pretty good.
Oh
Then
my god.
we have one that's almost identical word for word, one of the taglines we had for The Cell last week, or last
Oh.
episode. To enter the mind of a killer, she must challenge the mind of a madman.
Oh my god, that is like the
It's
cell.
yeah, it's almost
What?
identical.
They should have
And
used that. Cell should have
agreed.
used that.
And then I
Oh
have no
god.
notes on how to describe this one, it just is. Prepare yourself for the most exciting, mesmerizing, and terrifying 2 hours of your life!
Ah, I'm sorry, what are we watching? Is this a horror film or a pure film?
Truly. Also, does that not sound like a tagline for a B movie from the 1940s? This was
Oh,
in
yeah.
1991. What
Yeah.
are we
It sounds like
doing?
a
What
schlocky porn
happened?
title from,
Yeah.
like, yeah, like the '60s or something like
Yes.
that. Absolutely.
What went
Absolutely.
wrong?
Or right.
Or right, depending on how you look at it.
God, all over the place with taglines. They were really
Really.
struggling.
Really. So this is directed by Jonathan Demme, who is friend of the podcast / resident bird expert Devin's favorite director. So shout out to Devin.
Ah.
This is certainly Demme's most like beloved and well-known movie, but he's
Okay.
had like a very rich and very weird cross-genre career. So he did
Ooh.
The Manchurian Candidate, Rachel Getting Married, Beloved, which was based on the Toni Morrison book. Definitely feels weird. Like, I love that book. Should not have been
Mhm.
directed by a white man.
Mm.
Anyway, Philadelphia, Married to the Mob, and Stop Making Sense with the Talking Heads. He also directed music videos along the way as he was doing features for people like Suzanne Vega and Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, wow.
Um, really fascinating career has
Wow.
Jonathan
Yeah.
Demme. Written by Ted Talley, who went on to write 12 Strong, Before and After, the Cormac McCarthy adaptation, All the Pretty Horses, the Silence of the Lambs follow-up, Red Dragon, but at this point he's only done 2 TV movies and a movie called The White Palace with Susan Sarandon and James Spader 1 year before this.
Oh, I've seen
Have
that.
you heard of it?
I've heard of that before. I feel like I've
Okay,
seen the
I
poster.
Interesting. I had not and had to like verify that this was a real movie because it felt fake to me for whatever reason. Um, Ted also,
All movies of that era, I feel like
yeah,
felt a little
honestly,
fake.
that's very true. Writer Ted also has an on-screen cameo as a mustachioed FBI agent in the raid near the very end when they're at the wrong house.
Oh, fun.
But this is based on a novel by Thomas Harris, who, in addition to the 4-book Hannibal Lecter series, which is Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, and Hannibal Rising, so actually based on the 2nd book in the series, also had written Black Sunday, which was adapted into a movie that was fairly well known back in the 70s. So, like, he's considered a very adaptable writer, basically.
Very cool.
The stars, obviously, queer icon Jodie Foster as Clarice Starling. Her career really like took off as Iris in Taxi Driver, but she'd already been acting on TV and in movies like Tom Sawyer before then. Adult Jodie goes on to make Contact, Panic Room, lesbian icon.
Love her.
There, Nim's Island, The Beaver, Inside Man, A Very Long Engagement, and also starred in the 2024 season of True Detective. And she's a director in her own right. She did Little Man Tate, The Beaver, Money Monster, and she's directed episodes of Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, Tales from the Dark Side, Stephen King's Golden Tales, and even Black Mirror.
What?
I know.
Wait,
yes.
why do I feel like I knew which? Do you know which Black Mirror?
I didn't write down which episode.
Drop
it in the chat.
Yeah. Oh wow, she's directed way more than I thought. Amazing.
Put a pin in that.
Okay.
We have Anthony Hopkins as the one and only Dr. Lecter. He's obviously also Hannibal in Hannibal. I think Travis just dropped in the chat.
Archangel. That one's so good. I didn't realize that was her.
Or I
didn't, I forgot. That one's so good. Okay.
What's Travis saying?
It's the episode where the mom has to track her daughter. It's an amazing episode. I'm a huge Black Mirror person. Yeah, I just watched actually the Daniel Kaluuya one a couple days ago. Yeah, wow. Okay.
Feels very appropriate for her to have directed one with that topic. Anyway, Anthony Hopkins, Dr. Lecter. He's obviously also returns to reprise the role as Hannibal in Hannibal. He's also Titus in Titus, Hitchcock in Hitchcock, Nixon in Nixon, Freud in Freud's Last Session. Yes.
More.
The rest are not quite as fun as that. You know, I know, but it's such a run he had there. He's also Van Helsing in Bram Stoker's Dracula. He's Ludlow in Legends of the Fall, Father Lucas in The Rite, Odin in Thor. And I did not know this. He's the one who narrates the Jim Carrey How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I know, isn't that wild? That's
what?
Narrated by Hannibal the Cannibal.
What?
Yes. So essentially, if a movie is named after a character, there's an unusually high likelihood that that character is Anthony Hopkins. Yes. We have Scott Glenn as Jack Crawford. He's Bart in The Hunt for Red October, Ezra in The Bourne Legacy, Stick in Daredevil, Alan Shepard in The Right Stuff, The Wise Man in Sucker Punch, Father Moody in The Virgin Suicides, which I love, and Colby in Apocalypse Now. He's really well cast for this, I think. He also, it weirdly looks in this movie almost as if his face is carved out of wax, which I've always found deeply creepy.
Yeah, of course you do. You hate
wax. I hate wax. We all know this. Anyway, we have Ted Levine as Buffalo Bill. This was definitely one of those iconic roles where it was then like hard for the actor for a couple years afterwards to shed that persona. But he's also Bosco in Heat. He's the warden in Shutter Island. Big Bob in the 2006 Hills Have Eyes. Ken in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Colonel Howard in Demi's The Manchurian Candidate. And Sergeant Tanner in The Fast and the Furious.
Oh my god. Why does his like face doesn't
I feel like
stick with
He
me.
looks very different as Buffalo
Chameleon.
Bill than he does in anything else,
Yeah,
I feel like.
wow. I've seen him in a bunch of those.
Mhm. We have Anthony Heald as the detestable Dr. Chilton. He's George in Postcards from the Edge, Marty in The Pelican Brief, and he narrated actually like a whole bunch of Star Wars novelizations.
Oh, cool.
Weird.
Damn.
We have Brooke Smith as Catherine Martin. She's Dr. Erica Hahn on Grey's Anatomy, Frances in Ray Donovan, a nurse in Interstellar, and Sonia in Vanya on 42nd Street. Also wanted to give a quick shout out to Casey Lemons as Ardelia. She's the only Black woman in this movie. Not only is she Bernadette in my beloved Candyman, she also is a director in her own right and made the Southern Gothic classic Eve's Bayou, Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody, Harriet, and several others. We love Casey Lemons in this house. She's amazing. Mini shout out to Chris Isaac of Fire Walk With Me fame as one of the SWAT commanders. And another big shout out to B Picture King Roger Corman, who's responsible for the likes of Little Shop of Horrors and the House of Usher, as the director of the FBI. It's incredible.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
So cute. Works on so many levels. Chef's kiss. There's also apparently a super short George Romero cameo in this movie. He is apparently one of the guards who takes Jodie away after her last time visiting Hannibal.
Oh, shit.
I missed seeing that, but yeah. Apparently George Romero was briefly in Silence of the Lambs.
I love that.
So that sets us up for, this is just going to be like a weird episode. There's so many weird facts about this movie.
I
It's
love that,
like
actually.
only going to get weirder from here. So some folks will already know this, but Silence of the Lambs was not the first time that the character Hannibal Lecter appeared on screen. That was in Michael Mann's Manhunter from 1986, which was based on Red Dragon, the first book in the Silence of the Lambs series. And I actually have written in my notes here, it feels like that's the last normal thing I'll say on this episode because it's only getting weirder from here. So this film, which is produced by Orion Pictures during the time that the screenwriter of The Cell was the director of development at Orion Pictures, was originally set to star as Lecter and be directed by anybody got a guess? Anybody?
No, because you've like thrown out so many people already.
Santa Fe's own Gene Hackman. This was supposed to be Gene Hackman's like directorial debut.
No way.
Gene and Orion picked up the rights as 50-50 partners. It apparently cost about $500K, and so Gene put $250 in. And they were also particularly cheap because Manhunter had been a box office bomb, and so there was the sense that the rights weren't that valuable. Ted Talley then gets brought on to adapt the source material and says about Gene Hackman, quote, "He hadn't decided whether he was also going to try and play Lecter while directing it. He thought he might have to drop back to playing Crawford, the FBI boss. He did say, maybe Bobby will play Lecter, but I didn't have the nerve to ask, Bobby who? Bobby Duvall? Bobby Duvall? Bobby Redford? Bobby De Niro? He just assumed that I would know who Bobby was. Bobby! And then he quit, and I was still writing my first draft. He never called me. I just heard one day from my agent, Gene Hackman's dropped out of the project. Why did Gene Hackman quit, you may ask? Because his daughter read the book and asked her dad not to do it because she thought it was too violent.
Oh, shit.
As Demi says, God bless Hackman's daughter.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, the funding falls apart and screenwriter Talley panics because he hasn't even gotten his first paycheck yet. And now Orion doesn't even have a fully clear title because Gene Hackman still owns part of it.
Man.
It's a nightmare. But Mike Medavoy at Orion tells him, just keep writing. We're going to find a new director. Just keep doing your thing. They don't find that new director right away, though. No. First, who do you think they go to direct this movie after Gene Hackman drops out?
Did they go for another, like, actor?
They do not. They go for a famous director. Very famous.
My God. I'm so bad at this game. Give me the option A, B, and C, please.
Oh my God. I'll just tell you.
Or you can just say.
They go to Steven Spielberg. They bring this script to Amblin Entertainment, and Amblin turns it down before even taking it to Steve himself based on it not being in character. hilarious.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild choice at the time.
I told you that was going to be the last normal thing I said this episode. So
Dumb,
finally,
dumb choice.
I know there's so many of those here for
Oh
like a
god.
movie that turned out so brilliantly. It
Yeah.
almost went so
Just
horribly
fumbled.
astray at every point. So
Oh my god.
it finally lands with Demi, who had just worked on Married to the Mob and Something Wild at Orion, so he was like a known quantity there. He specifically singles out the strong female character at the center of the novel as one of the main reasons that he's drawn to the source material. And as Tally said, quote, Jonathan said to me one time, I'm a high estrogen director, which I
I
love.
love that.
I love.
That's cute. Why is that
Isn't
so
that
cute?
adorable? Demi himself says, quote, my fantasy is that author Tom was at a really nice dinner party down in Miami and he was introduced to some woman who said to him, I've read your books and you're a really strong writer, but you can't write women for shit. All you write about is men. I'm convinced that something like that happened and made Thomas Harris go, I can't write women, eh? And Clarice was born.
Oh my god.
So we
Out
don't
of
know that that's
spite.
true, but that's
Yeah. The
Demi's
lore.
fantasy.
I
Yeah.
love that.
A couple fun little script tidbits that I found along the way. Um, many little notes that people have made on IMDb that kind of point to wraparounds in the text. Hannibal, when we're seeing his drawings for the first time, shows Clarice a drawing of the Duomo as seen from the Belvedere. Buffalo Bill lives in Belvedere, Ohio. He's telling us from the beginning that he knows who Buffalo Bill is. He's giving
Oh
her hints
man.
already because he likes her.
Yeah.
Another
Tough.
one pointed out by IMDb that the white dog Precious is a lamb analog. The way that she looks, that fluffy coat,
Yeah.
which kind
Sure.
of connects Catherine to the young Clarice. And this one creeped me out. We hear, we hear that when Hannibal attacked a nurse and like all of these additional restrictions had to be put in place, that his pulse never got above 85.
Mm-hmm.
During his escape in the ambulance, we hear a paramedic read the patient Lecter's pulse as 84.
Oh.
It's not getting
Oh.
above 85. He's cool as a cucumber.
Oh man. Ugh.
I know. Gross. So, themes, approach, and history. Now we get to pull out a pin from your section of the episode. From the very beginning, both Demi and Tally are in total alignment on one idea, which is that the violence has to remain off screen as much as possible so that it can stay in the audience's minds. We've talked about this a lot before. Love that you brought it up for Fresh.
Yeah.
Here's a quote from Tally. Quote, from the time that Jonathan and I met to talk about the first draft, he said, we have to get inside the audience's imagination. We have to let them do the work. We only see Jodie Foster's reaction to it. That subdued approach was deliberate and consistent throughout the entire film. Once in a while, I would say to Jonathan, shouldn't that shot be a little more scary? Like when Clarice finds a head in the jar in the storage garage, I said, shouldn't we have like a zoom in on that head? And Jonathan said, a head in a jar is nothing in this movie. We don't need to be wasting ammo on something like that.
Oh, I love that. That's so funny. They both had the same idea because it is true. It's just like to see someone's reaction to something is like,
is always scarier.
yeah, why are you making that face? Why are you making that face?
Yes,
Why are you making that face?
exactly.
Like, what are you looking at? Why? And so it is
One
like your imagination runs away from you.
exactly, and it's
Oh,
it's
I love
always going to
that.
be scarier than whatever somebody else could show you because it's going to be specific to your own fears. Demi
Yeah,
also brings up
genius.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre as a big influence on that approach. Obviously,
Of
it's another film where it
course.
feels like you're seeing much more than you actually are seeing. And
Absolutely.
another important source is Jodie herself before she's even cast, which we're going to talk about more in a second.
Oh shit.
Here's a quote from Demi. He says, one was a lesson Jodie taught me in the first of 3 times we met to talk about the possibility of her playing Clarice. Jodie taught me that this is a story of a young woman trying to save the life of another young woman. Maybe it's a thriller, maybe it's a horror movie, but you have to honor that core story. And I wrote a note here, isn't that basically what our films have in common?
Yeah,
They're a movie about
absolutely.
a woman
That's so
trying to save
wild.
another woman.
Yeah, it's just like as simple as that.
This does, however, have both an alt beginning and an alt ending. The alt beginning I didn't find as interesting. It was supposed to start
Mm.
with like an FBI training exercise where Clarice is like going in to rescue a kidnapped woman, and then everybody was like, "Yeah, just kidding."
Oh
Which, like, I'm
God.
glad they didn't do that. That would be a
Yeah.
terrible start to this
Yeah,
movie.
yikes.
Um, but the alt ending I wanted to take a second for because in
Yeah.
the screenplay, the story was going to end with Lecter, he calls
Mhm.
Clarice. They have their conversation about how he's not going to come after her, but then he compliments her outfit so that she knows that he's watching her.
Ooh.
And he's
Ooh.
cutting an orange into slices while he's on the phone.
Ooh.
And instead of calling from like a tropical island, he's calling from this book-filled office, and the camera slowly pulls back to reveal that he's got Chilton tied up at his feet. And he says, "Shall we begin?" And the movie ends.
I love that. I'm
So
sorry. I love that.
that's what it was going to be. But as Tally recalls, quote, Jonathan, who hadn't asked for a lot of changes, said, "That's kind of icky. Chilton is despicable, and we don't like him, and he's a crumb bum." A crumb bum?
Oh my God.
Speaking of fresh.
Yeah.
Um, but he's still a human being, and to have him trussed up for slaughter is just too squirmy. Ted, shouldn't we give
Mm.
him some kind of a fighting chance? And so they kind of pick the actual location they go with, which is the island of Bimini, partially so that they can take a vacation on the studio's dime. But then they
Oh
go
my
and they
God,
have
yes.
horrible weather the entire time, so it's very gloomy.
That's actually hilarious. And oh, what a
Mhm.
bummer. I'd be like
I
so
know.
excited. I'd be like, this is what we get.
Yeah.
This is what we get.
Yeah.
At least they didn't
After
have to pay
this,
for it.
it's true. They
Man.
also, Demi insisted that they run that change by the author because otherwise they'd been
Mm.
very true to the script.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so he goes, or had been true to the novel.
Novel.
And so Demi goes and visits the author in person and presents this idea to the author and is like, "What do you think?"
Hmm.
And the author is like, "Come out into the garden with me for a second." And they walk out into the garden and he picks up his like planting shears
Oh my
to
God.
threaten him
What?
with.
What? The
Um,
secret window?
so like he's
That's
joking. He
funny.
ends up being
Yeah, yeah,
gracious
yeah.
about it, but he actually resists watching the movie for a while after it comes out because he's worried that he's going to watch it and never be able to write about Hannibal Lecter again after seeing Hopkins as the character,
Sure.
which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I can't
Um,
imagine.
there was also a very long sequence, like about 10 minutes, that got cut right before it was released, where Clarice gets kicked off the case and Crawford gets reassigned after Hannibal escapes.
Hmm.
But they had a screening, and one of the people there was William Goldman of Princess Bride, Misery, and Dreamcatcher
Oh my
fame.
God, we just talked about him.
We just talked about him, and he recommends they take it out, and Demi tries it, and he's like, "God damn it, he's right."
Oh, well, I mean, have we
It's
seen this
William
man's roster
Goldman.
of
Of
things?
course he's
Yeah.
right.
Damn, that's wild. That's really
Mhm.
cool.
I'll also briefly mention here, I sent you 2 batches of 3 photos, the more
Yes.
recent ones that I sent,
The
you can
recent
take a
ones.
look
Okay.
at now. Um, I'll mention that there are 3 particular real serial killers who serve as primary references for Buffalo Bill. Obviously, you've got Ted
Ugh.
Bundy with the kidnapping via feigned injury approach,
Hmm.
which is also another great example of them not showing the violence on screen. We
Yeah.
hear him hitting her after he's got her in the van. We never see anything. It's all hidden by the van door, right?
Hmm.
So that's one. We also obviously have Ed Gein with the skin stuff, all
I
of
mean,
the
yeah,
making
we
things
all
out of
know.
skin. The other one I
Lampshades
did
and
not recognize the name of, Gary Heidnick, who had a hole in his basement, which was the direct production design
yeah.
reference for this hole, and that's what
Oh,
these photos are of. I've got a Buffalo Bill photo next to 2 photos of the real crime scene, and you can really,
terrifying.
yeah, really see the resemblance there.
Terrifying. It's like when I
Um,
read Lovely Bones for the first time as a kid.
yes. Yeah, that I don't
Oh,
understand why that was considered a kid's book. It was not a kid's book.
Lord knows, still haunted by it. And that
Yes.
photo of a real that does not help. That does not help.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yikes.
So there's that.
Ugh.
Moving into production. Um,
Moving on. Moving right along.
moving right
With a
along.
hole in the floor.
We have so much to talk about with this movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Next one.
I want to make sure that we don't miss out on
Horrify
any of
me
the
more.
meat. Yes. Well, speaking of horrors, what do you want to guess that this budget was?
I feel like this has got to be, well, there's all this like fumbly bumbly, but I feel like it's got to be kind of like a big It's gotta be a big budget at this point. Was this like 20 mil?
19. Well
That's the closest I've been in
done.
like 2.5
A
years.
plus Al.
Yay.
Yeah, production budget's 19, which feels like pretty decently comfy to me for a movie that doesn't have like creature builds or big FX
Yeah.
sequences.
Yeah.
It shoots starting November 15th of 89 and goes until
Okay.
March 1st of 1990, so it's a long shoot.
Oh, yeah.
And it shoots primarily in Pittsburgh with a few additional scenes in West Virginia and obviously the Bimini footage. They also got enormous support from the FBI and were actually allowed to shoot at the real Quantico with some actual FBI agents serving as background actors. Why, you may ask? Because that's insane.
Yeah.
Because the FBI viewed the project as a recruitment opportunity for female agents, which they had a serious dearth of at the time.
Ew.
They were like, this is going to make women want to come.
This will make women want to come on this side.
This will make women come, right?
Yes, Melissa. Gross.
Yeah. So hate that, but it got us footage of actual Quantico, which is wild.
Sure. Listen,
yeah.
it
also,
ended up working for that, but damn, that's weird.
But also like, I wonder why you don't have any female agents. Maybe the call is coming from inside the house.
Right.
So one of our listeners from Pittsburgh actually wrote in to send a couple of location-specific tidbits.
Yes, I saw this email.
Cry. It was so sweet. I love y'all. You're awesome. Their email address was Chala Chala. I don't know what their handle is on anything. I'm so sorry. But they said, quote, soldiers and sailors, which is the hall where they filmed the infamous Lecter cage scene, will pull out all the props used for filming once a year at Halloween and restage it so you can buy tickets to see it.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
I
didn't read what the email said. Yeah.
You saved it for yourself?
Yeah, I saved it because I was like, you're gonna read it.
Of course I am. And
that's so cool.
The other one I was like, vacation idea, Al. The Buffalo Bill House has been sold several times in the past decade, but in 2020 somebody bought it and turned it into a Silence of the Lambs themed Airbnb that you can stay at.
Oh my god, I want to
go.
I
hate Airbnb, but I want to go to the Silence of the Lambs themed one.
I know they have some cool. There's like Lord of the Rings ones too. I know there's Stranger Things. I'm like, god damn it,
it's very upsetting.
That's sick though.
Actually, this is going to be, I think, our biggest section of the episode is on cast and crew, because we have so much to talk about with how we got the people that we got, why we got the people that we got, and how they came to these performances, because it's so juicy, it's so meaty. So we're going to start with Jodie. We have to.
Yes.
So Jodie Foster had just won an Academy Award for the movie The Accused, but even though she's at this point an Oscar-winning actress, Demi, unlike screenwriter Tally, is like, I just don't think she's right for it.
In what fucking world?
I know. And get who he wants. Demi is like, it's gotta be Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh god,
I love her too, but she's not right for this.
But I love her.
I do too. They've worked together, which is part of it. So like, I get why he'd want it.
Yeah, let me bring you over.
But you know, she's supposed to be like in training. She's a cadet. She's like in her her early 20s. And at this point, Michelle was like 34, 35.
Oh damn, yeah,
And she's also, as the screenwriter pointed out, so beautiful it would be distracting. And I kind of agree with that. Like, not that Jodie Foster isn't gorgeous, but it's like
she's the Fife.
She's the Fife. Like, she's Catwoman. Like, yeah,
insane.
Like, no human being should look like that.
Yeah,
and, like, thank God that she does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thankfully, Michelle turns it down based on the violence. She's like, she takes a while thinking about it, but she's like, I just can't bring myself to do it. And Demi then, even though he's got an Oscar-winning actress who's like, hello.
Yeah.
Demi then goes after Meg Ryan and Laura Dern. Obviously unsuccessfly. Yeah.
Listen, Laura Dern, she's too sweet.
She's too sweet.
And
I know.
Bless Meg Ryan. Bless her little rom-com heart.
Yeah,
she would have been
not right.
So bad.
She would have been so out of her depth in this role.
Meg Ryan in a rom-com.
Yes,
that's all.
Exactly.
And she's great.
She's great.
Wow.
But she is not Clarice Starling.
He had a type he
Yeah,
was
he
going for,
was
huh?
so off base. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, obviously unsuccessful. Ryan apparently was like, quote unquote, slightly offended by the fact that Demi brought the screenplay to her. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why do you think I would do this? Which, like, yeah, at least somebody had her head on straight.
Thank you. Yeah.
Um, and then Laura Dern, the studio didn't think she was enough of a star, which, like, rude,
Listen,
but
people still don't think she's that much of a star,
which
and
is
she
insane.
isn't.
She's
Yeah,
done
she's
everything, but
everything. Yeah, she deserves
um
more. So.
he even met with Molly Ringwald, but ended up
Oh
deciding
my
that she was
god.
too young. Like, my God, this man was so
What?
off base about who
And
his
then
character was.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, those are so many different like types of actors that,
Yes.
and then
Are
to
all
just keep going
wrong.
over Jodie actually pisses me
Yes.
off.
So now we get to that. So, if there's one person who knows from day one that this has to be Jodie Foster, it's Jodie Foster, which I love.
Bless her.
So I told you we had a campaigning for the part story. It's fucking
Yeah, it's
Jodie
her.
Foster. She had to
Good.
fight for this.
Ugh.
She actually called the screenwriter before Demi was brought on board the project and campaigned for the role, which,
Yes.
like, amazing. Oh, and it's part of
Yes.
why when Demi comes on board and Tally's like, well, we've got this year's Best Actress winner
Mhm.
asking for the part. I think she'd
Yeah.
be pretty great. And Demi's like, nah. It's like she's literally been involved with this project longer than Demi
Yeah.
has.
Damn.
And she never stops campaigning, even though Demi thinks that she's, quote unquote, to California, which I'm like,
What?
Jodie Foster?
That's the weirdest
What?
way I've heard anyone describe. That might be the
Jodie
first
Foster.
time.
Yeah, I
To
don't think
California
anybody's
for
ever
me.
said about Jodie Foster that she's to California.
There are
Um,
original thoughts, and that is one.
That's one of them. New Google search. And he didn't like her Boston accent in the movie The Accused, which, like, okay, she's not doing a Boston accent in this though. What difference does it make?
Right.
To make this
It's cool.
even more upsetting, here's a quote
Right.
from Jodie on what happened next after after Hackman dropped out. She
No.
says, quote, "I thought I'd be considered to direct." Which, like, yeah,
Mm.
of course you would. Like, that was just given to an actor to be their directorial debut, and
Yeah.
you're the other actor who's interested in the project and you just won an Oscar.
Ugh.
And instead, the studio said that the next director was going to be Jonathan Demme, and he's not interested in you. I was devastated.
Ugh.
So I got on a plane and I said to him, I want to be your second choice. Like,
I
are you kidding me?
that makes my heart hurt for her.
I know. I'm
But
so
also
upset.
like the fact that she still was willing to be like, I don't care if you don't like me, like I'm doing this in
Yeah.
spite of
I know
everything.
I'm right for it.
Which,
Yeah.
God, that takes a
It takes
you
balls.
like
It's
that
yeah.
takes I just can't like that's you really have to be like, I want this over whatever the fuck you have going on here.
Yeah.
And then
Over
like
all
you
of
have
my
to separate your like
yourself so
emotions from
much.
that.
It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
really incredible.
Wow.
And so then Jonathan Demme meets with her, as he mentioned, 3 times, and what finally convinces him isn't even anything in the conversations they have. It's not her observation that this is a story about a woman rescuing a woman. It's the way she walks down the hall. He
Ew.
says that he watches her walk down the hall and sees this determination in the way she moves, and that
Okay.
he's won over by that. And he actually, which I'm like, it's gross. It's gross.
Yeah,
Um,
I have feelings.
I have feelings about that. He actually, though, then goes on to name his production company Strong Heart Productions, quote unquote, after Jodie's sense of the character. So he, like, completely falls in love with her once he's brought on board the Jodie train. But it
You better be a humble man
he
after this.
really better. So, meanwhile, what does Jodie do? Once she
Mhm.
got the part, she goes and does the obstacle course with new FBI trainees, which they apparently call the Yellow
Wow.
Brick Road. So she did the Yellow Brick Road for research. I know it's
Oh.
gross. And she has some, of course, amazing observations about the character and says, quote,
Mhm.
"For me, with Clarice, it was also about her voice, mostly because she was somebody that had been scarred by the bleeding of the lambs, the sound, and how there was nothing she could do to help them. My mother said to me, 'Why do you want to play this character who's kind of quiet and mousy?' There was almost
Mm.
this shame that she wasn't bigger, that she wasn't stronger, this person
Mm.
trying to overcome the failure of the body they were born in. I understood that that was her strength. In some ways, she was just like the victims, another girl in another town," which I'm like,
That was her mom? her mom's an actor.
The part that was her mom was why do you want to play this character who's quiet and mousy?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I should have said end
damn.
quote there. Yeah.
I was like, isn't her mom an actor anyways? But
probably. I don't know actually, but yeah, everything from there onward, there was almost a shame that she wasn't bigger. That's all just Jodie.
Oh wow. Interesting.
So like obviously it had to be Jodie Foster. Who are we fucking kidding? Also, I feel like the woman who had somebody try to assassinate the president to get her attention is like the perfect person to play this role. Like she has the life experience to back up so much of what's going on in Clarice's head. So moving on to Anthony, Mr. Hopkins, his name came up sooner in conversations, and Demi wasn't like opposed the way he was with Jodie, but Hopkins also was not the first person to be offered the role, which is so insane. So the studio is like all over the place with its ideas for Hannibal.
Oh God.
So they throw out names like Dustin Hoffman, Morgan Freeman, Robert De Niro, and yes, even Al Pacino.
I was gonna guess Al Pacino today.
Yes, there had to be a Pacino reference.
Be in there. He's gotta be in there for this one.
Yeah, imagine the camera turns the corner and you see that
another
plexiglass front, and it's Al Pacino.
The faces of Al Pacino shirt is coming together. I want to be able to finish it by 2026 so we can make it.
Oh my God! At some point, it's going to be like a crazy quilt. Like there's so many of them now.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
So, who did get the first offer?
Oh God.
Sean Connery. Yep.
If the silence is deafening on my part, it's because it is.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Sean Connery? I can't do a Sean Connery impersonation.
That was incredible.
No, that was...
Play that tape back.
I need to drink more... Sean Connery. I need to drink more wine before...
Do it like with a sip of wine in your mouth, I feel like is going to add to it.
Sean, I'm gonna look at the camera.
Yeah,
Sean Connery. That was
my God.
Horrible. I actually don't know what he sounds like. This is why I'm not an actor.
Incredible. So here's a quote from Demi on Sean Connery. He says, quote, Connery has that fierce intelligence and also that serious physicality. I love Tony Hopkins, but Sean Connery could be amazing. So to take the most commercial path, because Connery was flying very high at the time, we sent the script to Connery first. Word came back shortly that he thought it was disgusting and wouldn't dream of playing that part, so great, now we can go to Tony Hopkins.
Oh my God. So many people. I love how many people that they wanted that were just repulsed. Imagine the Fifes and Connery.
I know.
They were just trying to
that would have been such a terrible movie. Like, it would not work.
They were just trying to get hot people for a poster. That's what they were trying to do.
Yeah, literally. So, what made him love Tony Hopkins? It was his performance in The Elephant Man, where he plays this incredibly kind and good-hearted doctor. And Demi said, quote, he had been as believable as a doctor as you can imagine, and he was good. What if you cast Anthony Hopkins in the part of Dr. Lecter, who is not the worst doctor, but he's a good doctor turned bad? Which, love.
That's great.
Hopkins, meanwhile, famously gets sent the script and thinks based on the title that it's a children's story. He's like, The Silence of the Lambs, that must be for kids.
Oh my God, no way. Yeah.
He starts reading, gets 10 pages in. Yeah. It's a bedtime story, right? Yeah. So he starts reading the script, gets 10 pages in, and falls in love. He's like, this is the best part I've ever been offered. And so he and Demi have dinner together, LOL. And the rest is history.
That's amazing. No way. I didn't know that, actually. I don't know much about this movie. So.
Yeah, there was so much that was a surprise to me. So we finally got our main cast. There's a read through a week before production with execs in the room. And here's a quote from Demi. He says, there was electricity in that room coming off of what Hopkins was doing. He had found Lecter, and I remember when he delivered that last line, the room was just silent. And my producer, Kenny, just goes real quiet. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, that's gotta. Oh my God, can you imagine being in that room for that?
That never happens. That never happens.
How incredible.
And every time they shot a Lecter scene, according to Demi, Hopkins would come in and go, "Good morning, Jonathan. You know, you're really the one that's mad."
That was a great impersonation.
Oh, thank you.
Freaked me out. That's an example of a good impersonation.
And
that's
Hopkins,
so amazing.
I know, it's like, I love that he was scaring the director. Yeah, he just had such a good time.
Yeah.
And Hopkins himself said, quote, the voice had come to me on the first reading. Jonathan had asked me, and I said, he's like a machine. He's like Hal, the computer in 2001. Good evening, Dave.
Shut
Uh-huh.
up.
Yeah, it's based on Hal. He comes in like a silent shark. I was naturally nervous. An Englishman, a limey like me, a Welshman playing an American serial killer. And I remember Jonathan, when the camera picked me up, he said, "Oh my God, that's it, Hopkins, you're so weird."
Oh my God, what a compliment.
And I said, "Why, thank you." And then they went to the lighting girl to come to my cell, and I said, "What are you doing in my cell?" And Jonathan said, "Oh my God!" So I knew I'd pressed the right button.
I would have lost.
I know.
He is so, I mean, Jesus Christ, like what an iconic performance he gives. I can't imagine like being on set for that and
I
like
know.
having that kind of play. Like I
He
just
was
would have been
fucking
tickled.
with everybody the
tickled.
whole time. Yeah.
I would have been so giddy. I'm like, talk to me.
I know.
Say
You're
something about
really
me.
the one who's mad.
Oh my God.
So good. Yeah, and he's like, so I knew I'd press the right button. Once you got that button, hold on to it and go with it. And he was also thinking about how, quote, one rule of naturalists when they're confronting the great gorillas is don't look at them because that's a threat. So when Lecter doesn't take his eyes off you, that's frightening. And Charles Manson did stare like that. You think that's a disturbed person because they have no reference point, they have no pity. Which, I love what insights both these actors have into their characters. Like, of course they go on to give these incredible performances. But Foster and Hopkins actually had very little time together on the set. Here's a quote from Jodie. She said, "He only shot for 7 to 10 days, or maybe even less. I never saw him until halfway through the movie. Much of the dialogue is straight to camera, a Hitchcock technique. So some days I never even saw him. It was the last day of shooting." I love this so much. "It was the last day of shooting, and I was eating a tuna fish sandwich, and I said, 'I was a little scared of you.' And he said, 'I was scared of you.' And then we had a big hug."
Ugh. Oh my God, I love them now too.
Isn't
What
that so
cuties.
cute?
God. Also,
They were,
to
yeah.
give that performance to camera and like not have that to play
Not
off
have
of.
Anthony Hopkins there is
That's
wild.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it would be cheaper to shoot it that way, but my
Sure.
God, like, props to Jodie Foster because you really feel like he's there that whole time.
Oh yeah, I would have never guessed otherwise. So that's, oh my God, how cute of them.
I know. Well, and I love, it makes perfect sense too, because for Anthony Hopkins, like, he's nervous about being right for the role, and he's meeting somebody who is now an Oscar-winning actress, and his career hadn't really taken off in the same way yet, and so he's, like, intimidated to work with her almost, and, like, he'd been doing a lot of stuff, but, you know, this role was so iconic that it really kind of cemented the Anthony Hopkins reputation, and meanwhile he's playing opposite somebody who literally just won that year's Oscar.
Yeah, that's so crazy to think about because again, it's usually like we just we don't hear men kind of talk that way. So it's so funny that we had two leads kind of say that about their female counterparts there.
We love to see it. And one last character resource. Obviously, the FBI, John Douglas, the one who Mindhunter is based on, was a really big resource for the actor playing Crawford, who actually went and spent several days with Douglas at the FBI. And he also, very creepily, John Douglas gave the actor tapes from an actual serial killer murdering teenage girls to help him get in character.
I don't think
and I'm like, I don't think we need that. I don't think we need that.
That feels exploitive and unnecessary, and it goes to my whole men in Hollywood having men in Hollywood having the privilege because they're men in Hollywood to do things like that and be what do you call
shitty.
it?
Be shitty.
Yeah, honestly,
I'll just say it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's a person losing their life. They did not volunteer to be your acting resource. Like, no, that's gross.
Really unnecessary.
Yeah. So moving into the making of, this is shot by director of photography Tak Fujimoto, who we've covered once on the podcast before. Do you remember where?
No, because I don't remember anything.
So
stop asking me questions.
I thought from the reaction, I don't know. Tak also did Signs. That's the one that that we've covered.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
He was a big big M. Night Shyamalan, both M. Night Shyamalan and Jonathan Demme collaborator. He worked with both of them on many of their movies.
Oh.
He also shot The Sixth Sense. He shot Beloved, Married to the Mob, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and my
Oh.
beloved Badlands, which I feel like I've talked about 50 times on this podcast. He's brilliant.
Keeps coming back. Amazing.
And talking about cinematography, we have to take a moment for those amazing close-ups because it's so much of what makes this movie so iconic. Here's a quote from Demme on the decision. He says, "By the time I got to Silence of the Lambs, I was madly in love with close-ups because I'm madly in love with actors. And I know, it's so sweet. And a basic premise of Silence of the Lambs is the story about two people fighting their way into each other's heads." Oh, love it. So the close-ups and the subjective camera stuff, that was something Talk and I were so excited about. We started together on Roger Corman tight budgets and schedules, and there was no time for close-ups. You shoot, you go, you stay on schedule, or you get fired.
Yep.
Talk and I were excited to try those techniques. We started playing with it on Married to the Mob. By the time we got to Silence, it was like, oh my god, this piece demands close-ups, and it demands subjective camera. We just went for it, which... love. It's one of my favorite details about the movie that there's so many subjective POV shots from men at Clarice where like we see, or no, sorry, other way around. We see so many shots from Clarice's point of view of the men looking at her where they're staring directly down like the barrel of the camera.
Yeah.
And then when we get the reverse shot of Clarice, it's not a POV shot from those men. She's looking slightly off like the direct spiking the camera, which tells us like we're seeing through her eyes, we're not seeing through theirs, which I love.
That's so interesting.
Brilliant.
Also just the concept of like, you know, having to do stuff, not getting to play as like a creative, you know, you just do your job, whatever, and then like the joy and excitement to be able to finally get that opportunity with somebody else to be like, we both are dying to do that, and then you get shots like that in this film.
It's so delightful.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that's so great about the choice of the plexiglass, which they chose specifically for the sake of the camera work, because originally it was going to be this like netting, and Jonathan Demme was like, I can't use that. That's like what's described in the book, but it's going to cover their faces. I'm not going to be able to get a clean close-up.
Yeah.
And so instead you get this reflective surface, so you can get these close-ups where their faces are in the same frame together, which is just so genius.
So good.
Production design is by Christy Z, which also points to a key bit of context about this movie. There were a lot of women on the crew, like many more than is common for a movie from 1991.
Wow. Yeah.
So Christy was PD for Revolutionary Road, Goodfellas, The Departed, Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, Red Dragon, The Manchurian Candidate, Philadelphia, whole bunch of stuff.
Damn.
And her first project as PD was Demme's Married to the Mob just 3 years earlier. But before that, she'd had a really strong career as a costume designer. So she came from that perspective. Which I think you kind of see in some interesting areas. And also for a film about people making clothing out of bodies, makes sense to have your production designer come from the world of clothing, from the world of costumes.
Cool. Yeah.
So at this point, I'm going to ask you to pull out the final 3 photos that I sent you. Another little show and tell moment. Yes. So, remember how Demme and Tally were talking about leaving all the violence off screen?
Yes.
Turns out to be a particular challenge when it comes to Lecter hanging up the prison guard, right? Because how do you make that look like it's not on screen?
Yeah.
PD Christie is the one who comes through with a solution in the form of an art history reference. She brings in a whole bunch of Francis Bacon paintings. Bacon's back, baby!
Oh my god, Baconator.
The Baconator! I'm showing you one photo of the like spread-eagled prison guard, one that's Bacon's crucifixion, and one that's an untitled Bacon painting that has like some flayed skin looking stuff hanging up.
The painting is very scary
and very like you can see the direct like one-to-one.
Absolutely.
And here's a Demme quote on it. Which I love. I so rarely, when I find an art history reference, find the director talking about that art history reference.
Yeah,
and it's
I don't
really
think that's
satisfying to see that.
Bob.
Yeah. So he says, let's see. There's a direct Francis Bacon design. When Christie showed us the sketch, I was like, oh, we got it. It'll be staggering to see this, but it won't make you run for the exit. I get creeped out by Francis Bacon's paintings, and I can't say exactly why. They're really disturbing, and there's this almost Nimbus-like quality behind some of his frightening characters and stuff. There's a little bit of this archangel, a little bit of butterfly definitely going on in that shot.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I
Ugh,
love that
so
quote.
satisfying.
Yeah.
Um, Costume design, this actually is a little bit of a tee up for our next episode, which we will tell you about at the
Ooh.
end. The costumes are designed by Colleen Atwood, who we've talked about before.
We love her.
Yes, we love. So
If that gives you
Colleen,
any hint.
yes, yeah. So Colleen did Sleepy Hollow. She did Memoirs of a Geisha, Sweeney Todd, Chicago, Wednesday, One Battle After Another, Edward Scissorhands, and Manhunter, the previous Lecter story.
Oh.
Um, Lecter's muzzle, I wanted to take a moment for, was designed by a man named Ed Cubberley, who was not a film guy at all. He makes masks for the NHL, the hockey league. And here's a quote from Ed.
Amazing.
He says, quote, "I got a call from costume designer Colleen Atwood. At the time, I had no idea who Anthony Hopkins was or what I was getting into. She told me that they were making a movie and needed a mask made. I said, okay, tell me about the scene. She replied, well, he's a
Oh
psycho
my God.
schizophrenic who goes around biting people. I said, so you want me to make you a muzzle? Colleen asked,
Sorry.
yes,
Love this.
heard, understood the assignment.
Yes.
Colleen asked that I put my thinking cap on and get back to them. I dug up some photos of full fiberglass masks that I made, and then I drew on an outline where I planned on cutting the mask. Basically, the Lecter mask is nothing more than the lower half of an old-time goalie mask, and then I added the bars over the mouth to make it look mean. I
Oh my
suggested to the
God.
props department that they leave the fiberglass in its raw color of greenish brown to make it look more like it was made in the jail housing Hannibal the cannibal. So that's just the raw color of fiberglass, which I had
And
no
then he
idea.
suggested that. Did he suggest
Mhm.
that?
Yes, or he says he
Wow.
does. Then
Okay.
you
Yeah, yeah,
listen
yeah.
to, you listen to Colleen Atwood and she's like, "Well, I thought it would be great to do the raw color because it looks like skin," which it does kind of look like skin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um
Just two.
Either
They were probably
way,
chatting, yeah, back and forth. Wow.
really cool
That's
to hear that
and
backstory.
he's never done a
I
film.
don't think
Like
he's done a
imagine
film
getting that
before or since. Yeah.
call.
Yeah, you're just making hockey masks happily. And you're like, "So you want me to make a muzzle?" Like
Muzzle? Heard.
question mark?
And I got bars to
Heard.
make him look extra menacing for you.
Yes. I'll make you a
That's
mean muzzle.
amazing. Do you know if that was like was the muzzle described in the book differently than I'm assuming if this guy kind of like made like
Ooh,
a hockey or they probably took like a little bit of reference. I'm
that's
curious
a
of
good question. I know that
yeah.
it was, I think it was just described as like a muzzle. Like it's just
Yeah, and just
described
kind of
as
like
like something
left
over
for
his face. Yeah.
yeah, because it sounds like
Um,
they kind of really designed that themselves, which
yeah.
is
Hmm.
really cool. Ugh, ugh.
And it's like, it's so simple, but it's really like you see that specific color and you know it's the Hannibal mask,
Oh
right?
yeah. I mean, it's like instantly iconic, and there's been
Hmm.
nothing that looks like it
Quite like that.
since.
Yeah.
So,
Um, Another little tidbit on the look of Hannibal, though, before we move on.
mhm.
Here's a quote from Hopkins. He says, "They did some wardrobe tests, and I didn't know what authority I had, but the costume designer put me in this orange prison suit, and I said, no, I wanted a tailored suit. I knew what the character looked like, and he wanted it tight and white to convey a sense of control." That's all on
Oh.
him, and I actually found footage of those tests, and like he looks
Oh wow.
so wrong in the orange. Like it's not the
Yeah.
vibe. Um,
Right.
he, he did a couple interviews at the time where he cited Katharine Hepburn and Truman Capote as reference points for how he did like the vocal characterization, but then he walks that back in later interviews. So just
Mm.
weird little
Throwing it out
vocal
there.
tidbit that I'm throwing out
Yeah.
there. I don't know why I put it here in costumes. Apologies, but it's there.
Listen, we heard my jump from whatever it was to budget, so you're good. You can't beat that.
There you go. One more familiar face coming up here. Music by Howard Shore again, who
Oh my
did The Cell, so we
gosh.
just talked about him. As a
Amazing.
refresher, Cronenberg did like basically all the David Cronenberg stuff, Lord of the Rings, Seven, Panic Room, etc. And this has, I think, such a wonderfully identifiable little phrase in the music that repeats over and over again that's kind of like
Yeah.
associated with Clarice. And I was
Mhm.
thinking about it's very tight in terms of of how far it moves across the scale. Like it's very contained, which
Oh,
to me
yeah,
gives it
sure.
this feeling of like kind of like a small but result, like very like determined strength, which is very like
Yeah.
that's Clarice, right?
Yeah.
Um, of course, you also get these iconic needle drops, like there's Hit Priest by the Fall, American Girl, Tom Petty, you get Bach's
Mhm.
Goldberg variations, and most famously, Goodbye Horses, Q
Mhm.
Lazarus, which this movie popularized. Little tidbit about the dance, that was entirely the actor's invention. He insisted that it be there. It was there in the book, it was not in the script. And he went, did the character research,
Oh.
read the book, and was like, I need to do the dance.
Amazing.
Which hard to imagine the characterization of Buffalo Bill without the dance now. It's so,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
integral
It's
to it.
synonymous. Yeah.
Um, Also just a fun goof. I normally don't note these, but this one really struck me. Right in the middle of Jodie's speech about the lambs being slaughtered, when she's talking about
Yes.
how she wishes she could save just one, there's this
Yeah.
like distant clanking sound that's actually from production. What happened was a crew member dropped a wrench in the middle of the take and she stayed in character.
Oh.
Director calls cut and Jodie immediately yells, "What the hell was that?"
Oh my god, that's, like, such a jarring noise when you're, like, on I mean, soundstage is,
Yeah.
like, something like everyone's
So
so
quiet.
quiet.
Yeah.
It's like you can
And
hear your heartbeat if you're,
to
like you know what I
have
mean?
that, yeah, break your
And she
concentration,
stayed. Oh my
it's
god.
so
That just
impressive.
Oscar winning.
Yeah,
So,
and that's
8/10.
obviously that's the take that gets used in the movie too. So like she gave that
Wow.
that
I
Oscar-worthy
have to
performance.
I
Yeah.
have to listen to that now.
Mhm.
That's so good. That's fun.
So now we move on into release. We're kind of rounding the corner here. This premiered at the Berlin Film Festival, but got its
Mhm.
wide release on Valentine's Day. It's so
Hey.
cute. That was director Demi's idea. We'll get to why in a second. And it actually earns a ton. Although I need to say here that I'm a little bit confused because every article citing the amount that it made links back to IMDb Pro's Box Office Mojo to say that it made 272 mil worldwide. But you go to
Jesus.
the site itself and it says 130 mil. So
Huh.
I'm like,
Whoa.
I don't
That's
know what happened
wildly
there.
different.
Either way, it did incredibly well, but those are two
Yeah, no
very
shit.
different numbers. So just
Wildly different
question
numbers.
mark. Not sure what happened there. Um, Either way, it's number one at the box office
Killed
for
it.
5 weeks after opening. It breaks records in the
Shit.
UK, becomes the fourth highest grossing film of the year in America, and the fifth highest worldwide. It
Wow.
slaps.
Wow.
Weird thing is, though, part of
What?
the reason that it got dumped in February was because Orion was filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy at the time, and there were like just no resources to promote the film. They'd also
Oh.
just had an earlier film out in December and didn't want to compete with themselves. I believe it was Dances with Wolves that was released in
Oh. Oh
December, and they
man.
didn't want to
Oh
compete with
man.
that, so they kept pushing the release of Silence of the Lambs back further and further. And therefore, Silence gets dumped in February because they think that it's not going to do as well. And
Amazing
boy,
though. And
does
then
it prove them wrong.
and we decided it now in 2026 to
Mhm.
do it for Valentine's Day.
Exactly. And it
Funny.
actually, when it gets released on home video, it becomes the most rented movie in America and the second most rented worldwide in 92.
Oh my
Got
god.
its first Criterion re-release way back in 1998, which is so much earlier than I knew they were even doing that.
Right?
Like,
Yeah, I thought it was like the
amazing.
the odds. Yeah.
Mhm. And in a first for the pod, it has identical critic and audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes. This is
Whoa, we were
why
so wait,
I
what?
know. This is why I had to ask to hear yours again because I was like, did I just
Wait a
mishear
second.
that?
Did
This
you
can't
say
be
80%
right.
and 80%? Yeah, 82
Yes.
and 80, which is the closest, but now yours
It was
takes the
95 and 95.
that might be the highest too.
I know.
Oh my
It's
god.
wild. Um
Wild.
Yeah. So Ebert loves it, compares it to Psycho and Halloween, even gives a really interesting
Interesting.
analysis of Lecter's place in the horror villain canon. And this is like a smart Ebert quote, and I felt like I haven't brought one of those in forever, so I did.
Yeah.
Felt like I had to give him a chance to redeem his writing.
We make him sound smarter than he is sometimes, so we only bring the
Truly.
good one.
So he says, he bears comparison with such other movie monsters as Nosferatu, Frankenstein, especially in Bride of Frankenstein, King
Mhm.
Kong, and Norman Bates. They have two things in common. They behave according to their natures, and they are misunderstood. Nothing that these monsters do is evil in a conventional moral sense because they lack any moral sense. They are
Hmm.
hardwired to do what they do. They have no choice. In the areas where they do have choice, they try to do the right thing. Kong wants to rescue Fay Ray, Norman Bates wants to make pleasant chit-chat and do his mother's bidding, and Dr. Lecter helps Clarice because she does not insult his intelligence, she arouses his affection. Which,
Oh
like,
my gosh.
ooh,
That's
actually
why
good.
wait. I was gonna say sometimes you do see him in like gaggles of like artwork with like movie
Mm-hmm.
monsters and villains. So
Yeah.
hearing that quote like kind of makes like sense to why he's grouped
Mm-hmm.
in.
I thought it was a
But I've never heard
really,
that.
really articulate for Ebert, and especially I
Yeah,
loved the observation that,
concise for him.
yes, unusually so.
Yeah.
And I loved the observation that because these characters lack a moral sense, it's
Mhm.
not that they're being immoral, they're being amoral, and
Yeah,
they're just doing what
absolutely.
they're hardwired to.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Weirdly, though, Siskel hated it, making it one of only two Oscar-sweeping movies that he dissed, while Ebert loved
Oh.
them. The other one
Hmm.
is The Unforgiven. And it was mainly because he hated Lecter so much, which I'm like, isn't that the
The point?
point?
Did they not
Yeah,
achieve the goal, my dude?
exactly.
I hate that.
Of course, it also got angry responses from second wave feminists like Betty Friedan for its depictions of violence against women, which, like,
Mhm.
ugh, boring. Um,
Moving along.
Moving right along, it gets much more valid criticism from the queer and trans communities. So much so, though, that members of Queer Nation protested Oscars night and there were arrests outside the theater of protesters. Which, like,
Arrests are unnecessary, first off.
exactly. Agreed.
Oh,
I
I didn't
had
know that.
no idea that that happened.
Yeah.
More on this soon. We are going to circle
Okay,
back
okay.
to that.
Pin.
So, of course, this goes on to be, to date, the only horror film to have ever won the Oscar for Best Picture. Although, here's hoping that changes in a couple fucking weeks here. Yeah,
Sinners.
it
Come
it
on.
this might be the film to challenge Silence of the Lambs. We'll
Oh,
see. I
please.
hope so.
Please, please.
Um, it actually won all of the big five. It won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Screenplay, in this
Holy
case,
shit.
adapted. It
Yeah.
also did all of this with the huge disadvantage of playing more than a year away from the award cycle it was eligible for.
That's what you
Um,
were saying. Yeah. Oh my
which
god, I
is
can't
why
even
yeah, that's why February is considered such a, like, dumping ground for movies,
mm,
because, like,
mm.
what in February ever makes it to the Oscars? By the time the Oscars roll around in March, it's
Oh yeah.
13
Well,
months away from when that movie was in
that's why I
theaters.
hate that too. I have a
It's
whole thing about
so,
that.
yeah, it's
Whole
so stupid.
soapbox.
So stupid. So it also received Oscar nominations for editing and sound. Those are the only two it didn't win.
Wow.
And
Amazing though.
yeah, it's, yeah, 7 nominations, won 5.
Wow. Wow.
And because it won so many nominations, I feel like it's kind of a waste of time to list off all of the other awards that it won. Like, basically
It,
just copy paste that
all
list
of
onto
them.
everything. It got
Just all of
everything
them.
from, like, BAFTAs to Saturns to Golden Globes to
Yeah.
DGA awards. Like,
Wow.
it got all of the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's also on AFI's top 100 list, and AFI also voted Clarice the 6th best hero and Lecter the first best villain of all time. Lecter's
Whoa.
escape made Bravo's scariest movie moments. The WGA voted it the 61st best screenplay of all time. Like, it's just everybody's
Wow.
favorite
Just
everything.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but this was so interesting to me. How did it win all those Oscars? Because,
Mm-hmm.
yes, this is an amazing movie, but we all know the Oscars are not just about awarding amazing movies. It's
No.
not a competition for who's best, it's a competition for whose marketing is best.
Yeah.
And here's what they
Popularity
did.
contest.
So, against all odds, here's how they
Uh-huh.
did it. Here's Tally with a T. He says, quote, "Those other films spent lavishly, but we had one thing they didn't, and it was revolutionary. Our film had a videotape. And Orion had just enough money scratched together to
Oh,
send them to voters. This was still a new idea, and
no way, screeners.
no movie had ever opened far enough in advance to be on videotape. Maybe it
That's
wasn't, yeah, yes. Maybe it wasn't the only film with a screener, but people said, "Oh,
sure.
I remember that movie and I really liked it. I'll look at it again." It saved our lives that Orion had just enough money left to send a videotape. That was the extent of it. They didn't reopen the film in New York or
Ah,
LA. They didn't run extensive ads in the trades. That was it. They sent out a videotape.
no fucking way.
Yeah,
That's my brain is
I
like,
know.
yeah, like it had there's someone had to be the first, but like I was
Someone had
not
to be the
expecting
first. Yeah.
Because I was like, you said, what did you say, 13 months or something like that? And it's like,
Yes.
that's my
Yeah.
problem with the Oscars. It's like, if you don't time it out right, then something's to come, and then everyone's fucking blah, 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 blah about this
Yeah.
movie. And I'm like, do you not, do you have amnesia about the movie that you watched at the beginning of the year?
Exactly.
And so I'm
And
like, how
yes.
did this do
so well? Yeah,
fucking
because
sense
obviously
its
it's an
own little
incredible
screener?
movie, but it's not, that alone is not enough. There have been so many
Yeah.
incredible movies that did not
Yeah.
have this
It's gotta
happen.
stick.
It's
That's
because this
my new
basically
favorite
invented
fact
screeners. Yeah.
about this movie. I am going to be telling people that about this. So
Yes, and
thank you.
it's basically like they turned a disadvantage into an advantage, because the only reason it was
Absolutely.
able to have that screener in that time, because the screener got, or the VHS, I believe, got released really early in 92.
Yeah.
So right at the time that like all these other films that had just come out in like, October, November, December weren't hitting the market yet for screeners.
Absolutely.
And so
that was the
they
one
were able
bag
to
they did
take that.
not fumble.
Exactly.
When it counted. When it
Yes.
counted. Wow.
I'm so glad to know that there is like a concrete reason behind this, because I feel like I've had so many people hold it up as like, this is an example of how any film that's good enough can work against a bad release date. And it's like, no,
Honey, no.
it was the marketing. Credit where
Yeah.
credit is due. Yeah.
Wow. Good on
Yeah.
them for like just
Figuring it
going for
out.
that.
Yeah.
Figuring it out and going for that. That's insane. Oh my God, I love that.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad
Mind
that
blown.
hit you as much as it hit me, because I was
Yeah,
like,
I just
what?
that's so interesting. That's so interesting. Especially like we're gearing up for Oscar. I mean, we got all the noms,
So, I think this is, this has spawned some of, moving into influence, this has spawned some of, I think, the most well-liked sequels in the horror realm. Like, there's 2001's Hannibal, which keeps Hopkins, loses Foster and Demi, but has, like, Julianne Moore coming in instead. And I think it's directed by Ridley Scott. Like, it brings in strong people.
yeah.
The reason that Foster and Demi allegedly dropped the project is because it ramped up the on-screen violence instead of keeping it off-screen. Hopkins then stays on board for Red Dragon, but leaves by 2007's Hannibal Rising, and then you get the TV series Clarice and Hannibal, which I imagine many of our listeners are fans of.
I auditioned to do social media for them, and I got
No
a few
way.
interviews, and then I didn't get it.
No! Oh my God, you would have been so good at it.
In hindsight, it would have been great. I still have like my
They're
pitch deck for
lost.
them. I think in some Google.
Oh my God, I would love to
Isn't
see
that funny?
that. I would love to see that, Al.
It's horrible. I was like 20 years old.
Oh my gosh. But
Very
I bet it
cool.
was amazing.
Okay.
There's also an unauthorized parody musical called Silence the Musical that I feel like I have to look up now, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Absolutely up your alley.
So up my alley. And it goes on to spawn, like a whole wave of serial killers, cold genius type films. Like, I think Seven owes so much to this. I think Zodiac owes so much to this. It's also a big reference for things like Mindhunter, which is also a really distinct contrast to what horror was doing in the 80s, where it was these like intense slashers where the villain is like a monster, and this is very much about the villain as human, or the monster as human rather. Although I will note here that there is a Dutch film called The Vanishing from 1988 that I really want to cover sometime. It's super obscure, but it's really scary, and I think it's a strong contender for a precursor to this.
Okay, that sounds
Does it sound
and I'm
familiar?
gonna sleuth that after this to see if I actually do know what you're talking about.
I
Is there another movie called The Vanishing? Because if it's not,
there's an American remake of it, which you might have seen. Yeah.
Okay.
I adored it. I haven't seen the remake. I don't know how much it holds up to the original, but that original really gets under your skin, and it has like a very calculated serial killer. Also, Dana Scully owes a whole lot to Clarice Starling. Big connection there.
Truly.
Of course, I feel like I have to shout this out. I hate it, but weird, horrible influence moment. Silence of the Lambs, like, kept getting brought up in the lead up to the 2024 elections, right? Where like Trump kept. There was like a quote where Trump called him.
That man up today?
I know, I hate it so much. But Trump called Lecter, quote, the late great Hannibal Lecter. And
yes, wait,
yes,
I forgot about that. So many things have happened since 100%, but I
feel like we need
that.
to remember the fact that Donald Trump thinks that Hannibal Lecter is a real person and that it's sad that he died. He goes on to call him a wonderful man, which prompted Hopkins in turn to go on the record making comments saying that he was, quote, shocked and appalled.
Anyone outside the country, help us.
Help us, please.
We've done this to ourselves, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh, but help.
We need help. Somebody rescue us.
Siena, okay. Actually, thanks for bringing that back up.
I felt like I had to. So, I'm so glad I still have enough time for this. It's very important. I saved for the film theory rant corner. We've got to talk about the trans stuff, right? Like, we have to.
Yeah.
And there's, oh my God, there's so much to talk about. And I was reading about it up until like right before we jumped on this call. And I'm like, there's so much more that I want to say and want to read and want to research because like I found all this stuff right beforehand and now I'm like, but
I hate that.
Okay. So I want to start out by giving quotes from the director and the actor who played Buffalo Bill on what their thought process was behind this. And then I'm going to move into what my partner said, and then I'm going to move into other responses from the trans community. So Levine, who's the one who plays Buffalo Bill, said about the character that, quote, there was a lot of concern that came up about the negative portrayal of homosexuality. I never thought that Bill was gay. He was psychotic, which I agree that I don't think that Buffalo Bill is into men. That's the only thing that you got right there.
Yeah.
Demi, meanwhile, got both defensive and guilty, which is always like, that's a good combination.
No, that's the wrong mixture of things.
That tells you a lot,
do
does
that.
it not? Like,
it says everything.
So in an interview around the time that he was releasing Philadelphia, which was a couple years later in the 90s and also had like a storyline about the queer community, it's about the AIDS crisis. So this gets brought up a lot in interviews and he says, quote, I got all this unfounded abuse on Silence of the Lambs. He wasn't a gay character. He was a tormented man who hated himself and wished he was a woman because that would have made him as far away from himself as he could possibly be. ... Interview goes on and then he says, I got woke up. I came to realize, in fact, there is a tremendous absence of positive gay characters in movies. And I'm just like, y'all don't even understand the basic concept of like queer and trans are not the same thing. Like there's like
I
there's
was
just
gonna say
so
like
much going on here.
Yeah, I was gonna say those are like I feel like that like, there's like a string of sentences, but they're like not
they're not really
together.
Connecting. Yeah, there's a whole lot of word salad going on here from Demi. So that's what the creators' thinking was behind it. I think it very much like it feels like there was kind of just like I think they thought they were doing the right thing, but they weren't. And
did they even think? You know?
Did they even think? Yeah, great question. I don't know how much thought was even going into it. Like,
do
I know
men
that.
Think?
Do men think?
Answer? No.
Can men start? Perhaps.
Can they? Maybe 2026. I don't know.
2026 year men think. Maybe. Try it on for size. So Demi. I mean, it's so hard to talk about because like he seems to feel a lot of guilt about it in retrospect. And at the same time, there are all these on-set interviews where like they're talking about how they're worried about how the gay community is going to respond to it. And it's like, this is not a gay character in the way that you're thinking of it. Like you're talking about a gay man. This is not a gay man.
Yeah.
So what did my partner, who's a trans woman, who watched this with me, have to think about it? Particularly because Dana has avoided this movie up until now.
Oh, really?
Had never seen Silence of the Lambs before because of this.
Okay.
And I asked her, I was like, do you even want to watch this? Because you don't have to watch this. And she was like, listen, it's as good as an excuse as any. And like, I need to at some point, right?
Yeah.
And so Dana watched it and I turned to her afterwards and I'm like, so what did you think? And she's like, well, first of all, I think the way people talk about it and what the movie is are very different. But also the one thing she wanted me to preface all of this with is saying that Dana wants it known that she could write a whole novel about this movie and the way it treats trans characters and that there's only like a tiny little bit of time. But with that said, she thought that it was both. She was like, I think he really tried to make a pro-trans movie and he just failed miserably. particularly the thing that she was citing there was the fact that Buffalo Bill trying to get gender affirming care being a big part of why he becomes violent, like read to her as like he's trying to say that we should give trans people gender affirming care.
Yeah, this is his villain origin story.
It
right
is,
here.
which like there's something interesting in that. It just is so poorly done and so terribly handled. Yeah, and so she was like, I really think that he was well intentioned. I think the result was like the worst it could have possibly been. In particular, I was thinking about it today and I was like thinking back through the kind of climactic Buffalo Bill dance scene when Goodbye Horses is playing and how it was shot, and I was like, hey babe, what do you think about the nipple close-up? Because we get such a long close-up on that nipple that's like there is such a point being
nipple?
made with it. Like that's it. No.
Sorry, walked into it.
Right there. It was right there. But I was like, what are your thoughts on the nipple close-up? Because like it feels like there's something trying to be said here, and I can't quite, like, it feels icky to me, but I can't quite articulate what it was. And Dana thinks about it for like half a second and comes up with like the most brilliant thing. She's like, I think especially because Lecter has teased Senator Martin so much, Catherine Martin's mother, about like, did you breastfeed her? What was it like as she was nursing? That it's playing with like these subconscious images of botched womanhood. And I was like, oh, you're so right. I did not pick up on that. And that's where I'm like, even though I don't think Jonathan Demme set out to make a transphobic movie, it is nevertheless a transphobic movie, and it is a transphobic depiction. Like,
I
you
mean,
could have.
So it's that's the thing. Like, I feel like sometimes I've said on this podcast too of like, well, we didn't know, we didn't talk about it back then with that. It's like those are all excuses, right? To like,
they're excuses,
and it's not like to say that isn't fair. So like, I know that. It's also like why we just even today. People don't care to learn and have the language or whatever, and it really is just like chosen ignorance or chosen hatred, and it's so like we did have there were people. There's always been trans people. They've always
existed.
They've always been here, and so it's like we did have resources, and just they didn't. I mean, Hollywood men specifically did not care. They did not care.
Exactly.
And that was another thing. They're like, but we're doing good because we're men and we're showing this thing that's the other. You're welcome.
And I woke up. That's like Jesus
the bare
Christ.
minimum.
Yeah.
Of anything ever.
Pathetic,
Again,
honestly. Do men think?
Yeah.
There's also, and this is kind of me responding to or like adding on to Dana's Dana's nipple observation.
I know. Actually, this is like the most perfect like Dana thing.
It's such a Dana tit, right? She's gonna hate me saying that. A Dana tit, yeah. No, she's gonna love this actually. She's gonna find this so funny. I can like feel her blushing from downstairs right now.
She somehow is hearing through the floor. It's just,
Actually, there's a grate in our floor, so she is hearing all of this.
Oh my God, Dana, I'm so sorry.
So the other thing that I wanted to say about that shot is like one of the other things that they put in Buffalo Bill's environment is Nazi imagery. And like if you look really closely, there's like his bed has a swastika on it. Like his bed cover has like a swastika quilt, and there's like a poster with swastikas on the wall. And there's a quote from Demme where he says, quote, "We're trying to convey here that there's a certain theoretical relationship and perhaps practical relationship that exists between fascination with Nazism, American patriotism, and an impulse towards violence," which I'm like, yes, on board for all of that. Also super interesting with the queer imagery, since Nazis famously don't like us queers, and it kind of adds even, there's a comment on IMDb that I thought was interesting where somebody suggested that it's maybe adding another layer of representation to the idea that Buffalo Bill's quickly switching between identities, trying to find a place that feels right, and that he'd like just tried on like this neo-Nazi like skin, like being a skinhead, and had kind of like discarded it and moved on to the next thing, which I'm like, that would have been really interesting to explore in more detail. And like would have added on to this idea of like, oh, he's not really trans, he's just trying on a whole bunch of identities. Like, sure, then show us another one he just tried on. And I'm like, imagine how different that scene would feel if instead of the 10-second close-up on the nipple ring, we got a 10-second close-up on the Nazi quilt. Think how much else that would tell us about the character. But that's not what Demi chooses to focus on. No matter what his conscious intent was, he's still like, I've got to show you this image of like faulty womanhood instead. And so like, yeah, I think it's fucking transphobic. And so to close us out and like bring us home, I have a quote from an article from a site called Feministing, which amazing. The author's name is Joss Truitt. She's a trans woman. She points out something that I did not know that really like spun my head around and like made me much madder at the film than I had been. Which I'm sorry to end there, but I also feel like it's really important.
To my fuel. I'm already enraged anyways.
So Joss pointed out, and this is a piece of history that I'm embarrassed I didn't know, a big part of something that gender affirmation clinics used to determine who was and who wasn't like granted access to care and to surgery in particular was whether the trans women coming in were straight, interested in men, or not. And queer trans women were more likely to get labeled as quote-unquote not really trans. They were labeled autogynephiles. It was considered a sexual deviancy, and this idea that like, oh, they're getting like turned on by picturing themselves as a woman instead of this is a queer trans woman, or like this is a trans lesbian, and therefore we're far more likely to be barred from accessing care.
Oh, I'm sure. That probably, like, their minds exploded. They were like, what? 100%. This can happen?
Yeah. And like, boy, does that put into a whole lot more perspective, everybody being like, oh, Buffalo Bill isn't really trans, and he's not really gay, he's not interested in men. It's like, no, Buffalo Bill is a queer trans woman, and
Siena,
you're feeding into it.
Too many thoughts for their little brains. Too many. They just went, and their little brains exploded.
Literally.
At the thought of
queer trans women being a thing that can exist.
Yeah, just cross-sectional, like,
identity. Yeah, they just like can't comprehend
they
that.
They were like, what?
Yeah, but I'm like, so even your line that everybody points to as like the reason the movie's not transphobic, the like, oh, but he's not really trans, is like, that in itself is tied to this whole history of like specifically trans like homophobia towards queer trans women.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'm like, oh my god, it's even worse than I realized. So here's a quote from Joss to lead us out. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. No, that's let's get Joss in here.
Okay, come in here, Joss. So this is from like the conclusion to like this piece that Joss wrote about it, and Joss herself actually has the tattoo that Buffalo Bill has of the side wound. So I was like, this is the person that I want to read from about like her take on this film. And she says, quote, if people who aren't trans women, Jesus Christ. If people who aren't trans women want to advance a version of feminism that values trans women and prioritizes our struggles, they must reckon with the real harm that has been done to us in feminism's name. Cis feminism does not get to brush aside or avoid culpability for the heinous ideas about trans women advanced in Silence of the Lambs, as these concepts are so fundamentally reflective of beliefs advanced in the name of feminism. Given the damaging impact it has had on the lives of trans women, from a feminist perspective, Silence of the Lambs is ours to claim or reject, just as its bigotry is something cis feminists cannot ignore or brush away because it is not central to how they want to engage with the film. So I just wanted to leave us there being like, if you want to, like, however you take it, you've got to listen to trans women. Like, trans women are the ones who get to decide if it's transphobic, which, like, it is, but, like, trans women are the ones who get to decide if it's still worthy as a piece of art. Trans women should lead this conversation.
Absolutely. That was like Molly in Fresh. I'm just like, that's not my voice. I will uplift and research and listen to you guys. Like, that's not my place to say anything here nor there about that. So
I was like, I don't think we can. Yeah, I don't think we can talk about Silence of the Lambs without making sure that a trans woman is the last word on the subject. So that's where I wanted to end us.
Was that, you said feministing?
Yes, feministing.
That's amazing.
Feministing, author Joss Truitt. It's a great article. I'll send you the link to it if you want to read.
Very cool.
And it's like, it's very complex. Like, she's like, this movie, like, means and has meant a lot to me.
Mhm.
And also stop being like, this is a feminist masterpiece because of Clarice Starling, and oopsie, there's that
And
little
then
trans bit. Like, we can't do
absolutely.
that. So
Yeah, but
yeah.
don't like cis straight women love to do that.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yep.
specifically.
So
So yeah.
that's Silence of the Lambs. It's
Oh
incredibly
my
complicated. There's
gosh.
like it is transphobic, and also it is like a foundational piece of art, and like these two
Yeah.
things exist in the same world, and it's very
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. They can
Yeah.
always the yes and thing
The
of it
yes
all.
and
So
exactly.
absolutely. Oh, that was so
That's what
great.
I got. I'm so sweaty. This was I
You
was
really
like, I
got
know that
heated and
there's
sweaty over these ones, huh?
again coming out of my skid suit here, and I'm doing just fine ish. Um
Cheers to us. I'm gonna drink my wine
Cheers
also.
to
And if
us
you
as we
guys are
both take a
drinking
sip.
coffee
Take
or
a sip.
wine
This is the
or a
time.
little, a milkshake, I don't know.
Yes. If your milkshake's bringing all the boys to the yard.
Yes.
Mhm.
That was so fun.
Ugh,
Happy
yay!
Valentine's
Happy
Day lead up
Valentine's
episode.
Day. This was a very good
Yeah.
pairing. They had so much in
This
common,
was so
so much in
much.
conversation,
Yeah.
so much meat to chew on. Um,
Ugh.
ugh, gross.
Nasty.
Uh,
Yeah,
um,
these were really fun. It was a good pair. I'm
it
glad I got
was
the
a good
opportunity to talk about
pair.
Fresh too. So
Me too, and I
yeah.
am so glad that you shared my sentiments about the butt issue.
I
Like
know,
it,
yeah. We again
yeah.
off mic during the break, we were like, the ass though.
It's so upsetting. Like I don't want to see it
I
there.
know, it really is
If
like,
it's if it's a
come on.
character point that she has no ass, give me no ass. Come on.
Never getting over it. That has to be our letterbox review.
Yes.
Too
No
much
ass?
cake.
Yes.
Too much
Too
cake.
much cake. Shall we
Uh
tell the folks what we're doing next?
yeah, I forgot for 2 seconds.
I know I
Oh,
had
no,
to
I
scroll back up to
didn't.
the top of my notes to get
See,
here.
this is why I needed to write it down too.
Mhm.
Yeah. What we were doing next, I'm really excited. We both had like the same idea,
Yeah.
and like you kind of saw I posted a DVD physical media stack, and Sienna had DM'd me, and then I brought it to the table, and
Mhm.
Sienna was like, yes, I was thinking the same thing. And so
Mhm. We were very in sync on this one.
yeah, and then I suggested a pairing, and Sienna gasped a big
Mhm.
gasp, and so we were like, that's it. I'm
A
excited.
gasp was gasped. And it's I think particularly good timing because as y'all know, we are fans of Sinners in this
Oh,
house.
totally
I've been
so.
loving the like Get Out meme that's been going around. That's like, if I could have, I would have nominated Sinners 17 times.
True. I mean,
But
Sinners and
also
like
like
Frankenstein right
I
now
am
are
that
everything to
person,
me.
and like I'll just own up to it.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
in honor of Sinners being a horror musical, we're doing our first horror musical pairing.
Finally.
Finally, it only took us 2.5 years to get there. So I'm covering one we shouted out briefly in today's episode, Sweeney Todd from 2007, going back to the
Yeah.
Burton days.
Yes.
Um,
And then I'm doing Phantom of the Opera from 2004, and that's what Sienna gasped over. So
yeah, it's so
um
perfect.
and I just watched it like what 3 months ago for the first time. I like
That
it's
is
been on in the
so
background, but I
insane to me.
never watched it.
I
Never like
can't wrap my head around that owl. Like I
it's
so
Patrick
would have
Wilson.
expected it to be something that you like watched every Sunday while doing laundry.
Yeah,
Like
it seems like it is part of my DNA, which it is
mhm.
now.
Yes,
Um,
adopted DNA.
yeah, and you had like you got to have that experience, and I'm living it in my adulthood, which feels
Mhm.
wonderful, but I am very sad that I've lost so much time. I do have the CD now for my
Love
car.
that.
I've started collecting CDs, so it is one of them now, and I have the DVD, so I feel like I'm in my era.
The Silence of the Lambs, or not Silence of the Lambs. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
era.
The Phantom of the Opera soundtrack was, I think, one of the first things I ever purchased on iTunes
Oh.
way back in the day.
Oh, this yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we
Mhm.
were both theater kids,
Theater
so
nerds. Yeah, I told Al
yeah.
I was in a production of Sweeney Todd in
Ugh,
high school, so this is gonna be really taking me back.
yeah,
Taking me back to the bad old days.
I know. I'm happy I love it so much. Um like I got to experience now and I love it so much
Mhm.
and I'm
I'm glad it stood up for you, because it's, I think, unfairly maligned in some ways, and also like finally starting to get reappreciated, and like it's a camp masterpiece.
Yeah, absolutely. I even tried to find the vinyl for it for Christmas, and it's really hard to find the 2004 vinyl pressing of it, especially with like a different color vinyl. And so if anybody knows where to get one or is selling one, please let me know.
If anybody has one, hit Al up. Yeah.
Please DM us. So yeah, I'm excited for both of these. They'll be really, really fun. And then we get to do 2000s together, which is fun. You're 2007 and 2004. So,
and I also, you know, it's I was thinking about it beforehand as I was thinking about what pairings to suggest, because I think we're all like massively depressed in this moment, and like just overwhelmed and demoralized and all of the things, and also just like being inundated with a lot of violence at the moment. And I was like, I want this to continue to be a space where like we can both be real about where the world is at, and also like take refuge when we need it. And I feel like some movie musicals really are kind of some like chicken soup for the soul at the moment, and that feels kind of necessary.
Sing along and cry.
Exactly. Yeah. Go down into the sewer palace with the the Phantom.
Yeah, we also like, again, not to be, wow, we really are like going down on this episode. I'm gonna get more wine. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry, Siena, saying it. We just found out. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. I can't say it. I'm actually gonna cry. Oh my god, ew. Catherine O'Hara died today, guys. And I'm like deeply upset about it. Oh my god, I like don't want to cry in the podcast, but like she is like everything.
I haven't had like a celebrity death hit me this hard since David Lynch. Like it's really
David Lynch. I like weirdly didn't like cry. I think Leonard Nimoy or Robin Williams was the last time I cried.
Before David
what is
Lynch,
wrong with me?
It was Leonard Cohen for me when Leonard Cohen died.
Funny.
That and Toni Morrison too. Those like all of those. I was just like,
it's like
Catherine
all
O'Hara,
of our favorites are getting.
I thought she would
she's young.
I know she's only 71. What are they going to do with the studio now?
It's oh my god, Siena, shut up. I didn't even think about that.
Dana said that, and I was like, God damn it, Dana.
Dana, if you can hear me through that grate, God damn you.
I think I just heard her like faintly cackling from downstairs.
I'm just gonna start talking to Dana through the grate now. Yeah, I'm like sickened because like her and Tim Burton films and like Christopher Guest films like are why I went to film school.
Yeah.
They're why. And like her performances. And so it's just like, yeah, she was like on-screen mom, on-screen mommy. And yeah, so if anyone else is deeply devastated, so are Siena and I. So and Dana.
I'm so horrified. Yeah. That was really and it, like the news came out like half an hour before we started recording, and I was just like, good God. Good God, Lemon.
Like I thought I was gonna like start this episode crying talking about it.
We just both come on with like makeup tears dripping down our face.
We're like, how are you? Great. Everything's fine. Oh yeah, it was really the like news I didn't want to hear. But yeah, we're trying to, you know, with everything going on, like we are here, our DMs are open. You know, we're here to provide, you know, I always say like we're talking about horrors so we can escape the real horrors in life right now. So we'll try and keep it light for you guys, but god damn.
This was a hard one, y'all.
It's a hard week. But this is fun.
Yeah, these movies were again good comfort food. Good tasty treats.
This was fun. What else do we gotta see? Happy Valentine's.
After Catherine O'Hara, where do we go?
I hope you all are loving love right now.
Oh my god. Ow.
Let us be your dates, you know?
Yeah,
we'll be
truly,
your dates.
exactly.
Hang out with us.
Yeah, raise a glass of wine with us.
One. Yeah, truly.
Pour one out for Moira Rose. Pour out a glass of Moira Rose.
I'm pouring it out into my mouth for her. Catherine O'Hara. But anyways, thank you all for being amazing.
Truly. And for being our Valentine's dates, for
a cool community.
This space with us. Like we were saying at the top of the episode. Like we've got I'm proud of the community that we have. And I hope that we can continue feeling like a safe space for you.
Yeah, we're trying our darndest. What the you know. Thanks, Trav, for keeping us on track, I
Mommaging
guess.
us, giving us...
Oh my God, I swiped everyone away. I don't know where you guys went.
Oh no! Thank you,
are.
Trav, for providing little tidbits in the chat, for popping in briefly to haunt us. That was fun.
Yeah, scared the shit out of us.
Thank you, Data, for her data tids, particularly tiddish this episode, and for getting the lights set up. Thank you to Theo Schaefer for our amazing theme music playing us out. Thank you, Al, for being my amazing co-host.
Yeah, thanks for drinking wine with me today. This is really fun.
This felt like a good episode for this to happen on. Felt needed. I'm gonna drink much more after this.
Me too.
Yes, good.
Cheers to us. Cheers to you guys. And until then,
thank you for listening to Splice and Splatter, the film podcast presented by us. We're classic horror.
It's modern gore.
And until next time, we'll be right back.